Let's go. Oh,
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to episode 7 of Subverted Subversions, the only podcast on the internet that is dingbat free, we promise and guarantee it. I am Jesse Larkins. I am Jesse Larkins, and I am with my co-host and esteemed friend, King Cringe. How you doing today?
what's up? It's King Cringe, and I am now only now for this podcast known as the other King because there's a greater one. So I'm only now Cringe for the day. So
Uh,
Yes, today we have an almighty battle of the kings. Who will
oh,
be the the surviving king of the of the alt lit sphere. We have
oh,
a very special guest with us today, the author of An Odyssey of Dingbats. Charming wonderkind, Mr. Omar King. How are you today, sir?
I am doing peachy bananas. I tell you,
Absolutely,
how you guys doing?
that
we're
is
doing
good to hear,
great,
dude.
That's good.
doing awesome. We're just really excited to have you here because yeah, we just both read Odyssey of Dingbats. I thought it was pretty good. It was like a fun read, and
Thank you.
Yeah, I just
Thank
finished
you.
it. I finished it last night, or yeah, no, yesterday morning. Something like that, sometime yesterday, and yeah, absolutely loved it. I had such a blast with it, and obviously have so many
Mhm.
questions to ask, and hopefully they won't appear as poking and prodding as some of the awful group therapy like characters in this book. But
Oh, I like Lester. I know what you mean.
yeah, exactly.
we're the
Which
therapists
Well,
now.
yeah, we're your therapist now, the SS boys. Which, by the way, speaking of Lester, that story in particular did make me tear up. I thought that was a very beautiful story.
oh, thank you. Actually, I read that story when I was in New York. Not so sure if you kept up with my sort of my trail or whatever, but I mentioned I went to New York and to do a new ritual press, participate in a new ritual press reading. It's titled "The Summer Solstice," and it was at the Old Flings Bar, and I read that passage from Lester. Not the whole thing, mind you, because I didn't want to spoil it, but I
Hmm.
read a good deal of it, and my goodness, the whole audience, and you can tell that they're the real deal, the people in that bar, because even though I've been told, and I've been warned that some people, the New York folks, can be hecklers and stuff. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
afterwards, the whole joint was pin. You can hear needles drop. It's radio silent in a great way actually, because I caught their attention, even the people in the back.
Wow.
And
Yes.
I tell you, after when I finished reading that passage of Lester, let's see. Let's see. Lester, I read the part says where he talks about being an alcoholic, and then he admits to being an alkie of the worst kind.
Hmm.
I, I just went silent, said thank you, and I tell you, I brought the house down that night. Go, wow, my woman, mama. It was just wow. It was a crazy night. It really was, and it made my night too, knowing that the I touched the hearts of my New York contemporaries. You know, and um, I can't. I'm sorry for being unmodest here, but it
Oh, you gotta
felt
be.
so fucking good.
You wrote a good fucking
No,
book,
dude.
man. You deserve it.
Yeah, you absolutely deserve it. That's very, very fucking cool. And
Thank you.
that whole paragraph, or I've got the book with me right now. I'm looking at it.
Hmm.
It's a huge chunk. Honestly, if you flip it both pages, it's like a whole page. Him just having this huge emotional unloading or whatever, really exposing himself. And I thought that was so moving. And then the very next scene, he's asked, he's being asked, like how'd it go, and he's saying like, it was all right, I did my best, and I just thought that was so I don't know. I just thought there was something very, 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 very emotional about that, and very touching about that. It kind of, I don't know if you've ever seen
Huh?
it's the Tim Robinson show. I think you should leave. Um,
Tim Robinson.
it's like a sketch comedy show. There's a really great
Okay.
scene where he the main character goes to a haunted house where it's like a
Okay.
haunted house tour, and he tries to make friends by saying really dirty jokes out loud, and eventually he gets kicked out, and he gets
Mm.
this is a grown man, by the way, and
Okay.
he gets picked up by his mom, and she asks
Huh?
him like like how'd it go, did you make any friends, and he's like no. It's
Jeez.
just it just reminded me of that. It just had this very similar kind of sort of melancholy to it, where
Hmm.
this person is
Understand.
like lonely and sad, and you want them to make connections.
Yeah. At Lester, he is a very melancholic person, so of course it would end up being melancholy. Oh golly.
Your drawing of him is very melancholic.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh boy, let me see that. I have the book with me too as we speak, and I'm looking at the image, and I tell you, this is from 2020, October 14, and I remember doing this on the. I had an iPad, and I just drew on it. Uh, it was a very and funny enough, it is sort of a true story. I know I am sort of like Lester, but the only thing is I didn't go to group therapy or that I'm not an alkie of the worst kind. I'm not an alcoholic, but I remember I stayed at the Travelodge hotel or whatever, right around my area where around I'm all scrambled eggs here, excuse me.
You're okay.
uh, no, I just stayed there for a couple of days because at the time my house was being fumigated, so of course we didn't have nowhere else to stay. We stayed at the Travelodge, and I tell you, the room. I saw this room being so dimly lit. It was very so. It was screaming depression, screaming melancholy, and I thought, "Ooh, wait a minute. Now I got something there. This is just perfect material." And it didn't really. The group therapy part didn't hit me. So it just the only part because I wrote this many years ago, many years ago, back in like 2020. Uh,
Okay.
WordPress. I had a blog joint, whatever, in WordPress.com or whatever,
Hmm.
and the same name under the same title. Although the only difference is it doesn't some words or some lines are reworded or switched here and there, but it's same concept. Um, this is the same influence around where I got introduced to Hubert Selby Jr. So that sort of really Cubby infected me with that, and then Lester came to life.
Okay.
Yeah, you were saying in the Soft White Underbelly interview that
Mhm.
reading what was it what was the one you read, you said
Okay, so I've read two stories. So because I appeared there twice. So yeah, which video though? That's the question.
oh, I meant
There's two.
you were referencing you read Last Exit to Brooklyn.
Yes, I did.
Okay, yeah, and that was a big influence on you, or because of the stream of consciousness, like nature or something like that.
Or subconscious, because sometimes the subconscious can really trickle in and just sneak in and without knowing. So I sometimes call it stream of conscious or subconscious because either or they play a key role both respectively.
Okay. Just wondering about subconsciousness and ideas. I was very
Hmm.
curious about the aspect of voyeurism in the book, and it seems to
Huh?
like spring up a
Like a
lot.
peeping
Like,
tom, huh?
yeah, like through all the stories and stuff like that. Like, was that like a theme or like an inspiration? I don't know. Like, yeah, what were the ideas on that?
On being a peeping Tom, um, I guess just like Cubby, I read the Metamorphosis, Kafka, and
Okay.
if but we're not strangers to the Metamorphosis. So those 56 pages that I read, it just really like that. It just sort of struck a chord in my mind, and so I'd like to play with that. I'm sure there are many stories. I'm not the only one who I'm the originator of this sort of concept or, with the orange crayon or any object, but I'm sure there's many
Okay.
out there. But I thought, what would it be an interesting idea if you had a crayon or whatever in this
Nah,
circumstance,
yeah. That
crayon
was
going
yeah.
through an existential crisis or revelation, and then, being sort of a voyeur, just watching, observing, just from afar, and have this sort of high standard of himself, that being so morally superior to others. You know what I mean? You wouldn't,
Yeah.
it just doesn't cross your mind. So that sort of thing really interested me. That to think that some object like a crayon can have a
Yeah, no.
moral sort of standard, higher standard of themselves, but at the same time as lonely.
Okay.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, that was something
And
very interesting because I noticed
yeah,
like the objectification, like literal objectification, where it's like crayons or people are turning into chairs and stuff. But like, yeah, them having more higher morals or like I guess judging humans like the objects are kind of like aliens, looking down on another species.
indeed, indeed.
Yeah,
So that idea just really it interests me. Especially, I just wrote a story on. Are you too familiar of Anxiety Press? Anxiety Press.
Yeah, have
Anybody
you heard of that,
familiar?
Jesse? Have you heard of Anxiety Press?
yeah, I'm published through them.
Okay, so if you're aware, Jesse, I participated in a collect an anthology
Oh yeah,
recently.
Tormented
Yeah, the
Flesh.
Tormented Flesh, and so page I believe 160 or 100 what I think it's 120 or 60 or whatever. I wrote a story sort of similar to the Orange Crayon, but in this case, in this matter, it's of a hound, of a talking hound who's sort of sadistic but oddly optimistic, and so that idea, that notion is no stranger to me. It comes so easily. But let me see if I have the book with me too. Hold on, I got the book with me.
Let's
So I can
go.
be sure and accurate what page number it is. 'Cause my goodness, that was fun. That was a fun project to participate in with all my contemporaries, with James Nyolik, and then there's Dan. Anybody's familiar? Daniel Chalesky, and then there's Dave Fitzgerald. Who I tell you, Dave Dave Fitzgerald. He's a writer's writer. He knows. He knows how to. He knows his shit.
Have
And if
you read
anybody's
Troll?
read Bro, yeah, I got the book with me.
Same.
Oh, that's what I'm telling you. He's a writer's writer. He knows his
yeah.
shit. He's awesome. Too bad I didn't get to meet the guy. I'd like to meet him sometime. Talk about especially Troll. But I reckon the page number is this book. I tell you.
Does
Oh,
does the
there it
te- is
is.
the texture like a Bible?
Y- no, it's sort of this felt. It's not It's not a Bible texture, you would think, right? But it's sort of this soft texture, this sort of soft felt texture.
Hmm.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But I love the way the design is. Oh, I found the page number. It's 185. Titled Paul the Optimistic Hound or Sadistic Hound. So yeah, back to the orange crayon with correlating with Paul. They're both individuals who are, you know, alien to humanity, alien to people. But even though they're alien, they share this sort of common interest, this sort of um, notion that they are better than thou, but better than they, I should say. They're not even better than thou, but it's fun. It's kooky, and I like it. I like that notion to say, you think you're all shit here and there. Think again, buddy. Think again.
You're getting dogged by
You know
your
what I
doggy
mean?
mom and you ain't shit.
Yeah, you ain't shit. You know,
Nah, yeah. No,
you think
like
you're Ursula herself. You
when
know what
I
I mean?
uh when I read Crayon Anus, I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be a good book. I was like,
Oh yes, the orange crayon where
yeah.
the orange crayon says, let me, in my words, let me read it for you so you can get a feel to it in my voice. The passage where he says, sometimes late at night, stuck in some purse, backpack, wooden box, closet, and under a bed, I'd hear these people have sex. How do I know about that? Well, I wasn't born yesterday. I'm not a moron like the red crayon, you know. I pay attention to what's in front of me. I listen word for word to what these folks say to each other and about each other. Scandalous things happen right in front of me. Episodes of violence and sex. Lots of wild sex. Like right now, I'm spilled on the floor of the closet with nothing to do but be a voyeur. I'm watching this big feller howling from the top of his lungs as if he was some werewolf. Give me a break. He's wearing a collar and some kind of black suit made out of leather, and he's on his knees. Jesus Christ. Like a damn wolf. He crawls around the red velvet carpet floor like some dog while his mistress in a bubble pink dress walks him. She grips a leash, pulling on his neck. If she commands to stand, he stands. If she commands to roll, he rolls. If she commands to eat shit, well, you know the answer, but that.
That's our goal.
Damn, jeez. Uh, I'm sorry. Oh my goodness, that crayon.
All the crayons in the book witness the most horrible shit.
Yes.
Because even the pink one witnesses a guy like a marital
Mhm.
dispute,
Mhm.
and the guy confesses to like killing
Oh
the girl he was having an
yeah.
affair with,
Yeah, his
and the
mistress.
yeah, and the pink Fran just keeps getting moved around, like the rooms just picking up on all the little details here and there, and yeah, that was a
Yeah.
good one too.
Yes. Oh, excuse me. Oh man. All right. Oh shit. Hold on. I just couldn't help myself laughing here or there. It's
Ah, that's
just too
great.
funny as hell.
I I really liked
Yeah.
your you did a piece on kind of like your first time discovering the book If Beale Street Could Talk.
Yes.
And that really
Oh yeah.
tied a lot of the voyeurism themes of the book
Mhm.
together for me. It was like, okay, it kind of felt to me like your one of your artistic statements for the whole project in
Yeah.
that piece kind of.
Yes. And I tell you, uh, page 14 and 18, it really opened my eyes. Like just reading about this lady being slapped around by her priest of a I guess he's a priest or something, her husband, and
Okay.
she's being slapped around by him and calling her a bitch and stuff, and basically this scene is painting sex, this sort of, and I'm thinking this is sex, and slapping her around and having her jump on him on his pecker and stuff like that, and then whip her head back like a sex kitten and meow and whatever. And then he says to let the Lord enter her. Now that really everything just together sort of, I don't know if that was my introduction to transgression, but that really was transgressive to me. Really weird, very odd, and that sort of, I can't say sexually, I can't say that really connected to me, resonated to me, but it's sort in writing, it really artistically and in writing it connected to me or resonated with me. It's interesting stuff.
Well, it's kind
But
of
yeah, that
like
was sort of yeah,
it's kind of like
that was
WWE, you know,
yes.
the performative sex, you know, and she jumped on his dick from the third freaking rung or something.
Were you in
Yes.
middle school? Were you in middle school
N-
or
No, I was in high school
okay?
at the time when I read this. This is at this time it was when that movie came out, If Bill Street Could Talk, and
Oh,
I was
okay.
interested. I didn't know it was a book, so I read I asked if my library if they'd carry that book, and surely enough they did. They carried an older copy of it. Small little hard copy. The cover's sort of weird. It's all green and white, and it's hard to see from the picture, but that too was painted in green or whatever, hard green. I think it was dark green or whatever. And I remember reading that page, and I remember taking it, but borrowing the book and taking it home and reading it page after page, and especially 14 to 18, and that part really just eyes bulged out and like daggers. You know what I mean? Like, oh, auga, my, that really, really struck a chord in my warped little head or whatever. And it
Mm-hmm.
was that was the beginning. That was the beginning of the insanity. I suppose to, I suppose.
So that's
That's
when you
the
feel like
origin story.
that's when you became a
Yes.
writer.
No, I was a writer before that. But not in that way. You know what I mean? Not
Yeah.
in that sort of way. But yes, I've been a writer before that. But that sort of writing from Jimmy Baldwin at Bill Street Could Talk really that it opened the door to a lot of interesting, weird, and warped stuff. Especially reading. God, I read there was Misery, and then there was reading. I believe about 1984. Then there was Confederacy of Dunces, and then there was Charlene Elsby, Violent Faculties, and Christopher's my best friend Christopher Zysek, Creation on Art and Unbecoming, and then there was I mentioned all this in Soft White Underbelly because it's true. There's Max Restrainer, Coyote, and then there is Troll. I forgot Troll. I wish I mentioned Troll in the video, but that too. That really, like I said, he's a writer's writer. He knows his stuff. He knows exactly what he's talking about, and it just it resonated with me especially. And then there's Garth Simmons. If anybody's familiar with Garth Simmons, he wrote a book called The Men in My Life. It's sort of this. I even tell him this is it reminds me of Kathy Aker. Sex something to do with sex. Let me see. Have y'all read Kathy Aker?
No, I've been meaning to though.
Yeah, that one story about where this girl and her I don't know if this is her actual father or stepfather, whatever. She has this sort of weird, uh, sort of violent sexual relationship with Blood and Guts in high school.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I was gonna ask if that was the title of it.
Yep. So yeah, look up Garth Simmons, The Men in My Life, and it's basically Blood and Guts in high school.
I was gonna ask how did you become friends with with some of those people? Like how did you become friends with Chris
Hmm.
Zysek?
Oh, but I talk about this is an old story, my favorite story. I talk about it fondly, and it is one of my favorites. Back in March, this is before the launch party in Los Angeles. You had a little launch party back in March 8th of 2024. That was a Friday, and this is celebrating the launch of his book, Creation and Art and Unbecoming, and it is and this was published through Apocalypse Party Press, And I will get to Apocalypse Party Press after this story because this is an interesting sort of connection to Dingbat. So I'm going to him before the party because oh god, do any of you know the son of Dennis Cooper on Instagram? The son
Oh,
of Dennis Cooper,
oh
Matt
man,
Graham.
you just name dropped that Instagram account. I credit that Instagram account so much with helping me discover incredible
Hmm.
titles.
Matthew. Oh my God, Matthew. To me, Matthew is and always will be a friend to me. He's great. I don't know what happened to him, but sometimes I wonder what happened to him because that account is no longer, I don't know if it's deactivated or deleted, I don't know. But to me, he's an encyclopedia to all the works of transgression, independent literature, underground literature, scum literature, weird punk or um, splatter horror, you name it. He's an encyclopedia of that kind of stuff. So anyway, I remember he because I'm aware of Christopher Seishig, but not exactly his background or his life, or his history of what he used to do. I didn't know about that stuff. And I was so stupid, so naive. At the time, I thought he was some indie writer, one of those, and he is an indie writer, but
You didn't know
but
it was a
I
porn.
didn't know of his history. Yeah, his history. So stupid me, naive me. I told Matt because I went there for Matt. I'm gonna go to because at the party around Los Angeles, that area, and I don't live around that area, but I don't see taking the trip to go there. And I took two associates with me to go see him, and that was fun. But prior to that party, prior to the lunch, and I told Matt about it. I remember after I had a psychology 101 course class in community college. I go to community college for, general education. I never had one, so I'd like to get one. And so right after that course, I went straight down to the luncheon cafeteria area for luncheon, and I had a sandwich and whatever. I ate a sandwich, the whole 9 yards, the whole enchilada, a nice sandwich, apple. Was it orange juice or apple juice? Apple juice, I believe, and the typical school lunch meal. You know what I mean? Typical school lunch.
Mhm.
And I was just, this is prior to the party because I'm aware he had a little poster thing that publicizing, advertising the party. Yeah. So an associate comes and approaches and asks, "Why am I so happy-go-lucky, all gleeful like?" Because I had a happy smile on my face, and I said, "Well, I'm going to a party, and the party is the lunch party." And he asked, "Whose party?" And stupid me, I couldn't pronounce Christopher Seisig's name, and sometimes I don't. I just call him Chris Z. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. So the only word I can say easily with my tongue that comes out so easily, Danny Wild. You see, Danny Wild. So
Mhm.
I said, Danny Wild, I'm going to this party for a Danny Wild. Danny Wild, say? Yes, Danny Wild. Danny Wild? Yes. Do you know who he is? No, I don't think so. I don't believe I do. I don't know who he is. I thought that, I thought Danny what was his pen name or whatever. Uh, so he said, well, he pulled, this individual pulled out their cell phone, remember they were typing up Porno Hub and just jotted down the word Danny Wild on the search bar, then picked out a video. And so he says, so you know who Danny Wild is? No, I don't know. Well, you're going to know who he is. You're going to know him right here, right. So this individual did was show me his cell phone and showed me a clip of Daniel, Chris Z, having intercourse with this lady who's all tatted up, frosted over, had graphic images on her body, on a red mattress, just going to town on this lady. I'm like, what the fuck are you showing me this for? The hell is wrong with you? I'm eating lunch here. Don't you what's wrong with you? The hell's wrong? I don't want to see somebody eat I don't want to see anybody eating someone out while I'm eating a sandwich. What the hell is wrong with you? Are you retarded or something? Are you born yesterday? I know I'm retarded, but I'm not that retarded. It was just it was very dumb and stupid, but funny too. I will admit that was just hilarious.
I can't believe
Yeah.
that.
um, just funny, and so that I didn't, I don't know the guy, but I'm already knowing him. I'm already knowing him from this clip like that. That's just God. I didn't even get to meet him, and now I'm knowing him already.
On a
But
very
so
intimate level.
very intimate level. And so that night, the night of the launch party, and it was at this building called Last Projects, nice little building. I remember coming up with my associates, and I was so nervous, so anxious, so pent up with nerves, and naturally, of course, because I'm meeting the guy that I've seen having sex. Now this is just bizarre. I told this is just weird. I so stupid me. Oh God, I fuck. Stupid me. I said, Danny Wild, because Chris approaches. He approaches the doorway. Him and his wife, and I blurted out Danny Wild, out of nervousness in my mind, and inside my head, I was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? What is wrong with you?" But my face was all just smiling and just frozen and stuff, and just just smiling, but my mind was just unfurled. It just screaming bloody murder in my head. And so I said, "Do you have a restroom? Excuse me, may I use your restroom?" And I felt so embarrassed. I just rushed to the back of the room to go to the restroom, wash my face, da 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 da. The whole night. It all screams of a coming of rage movie. The whole thing. It felt like being in a coming of age rage movie, but in this circumstance, it's some odd looking little fella going through some sort of revelation or dilemma. But anyway, so I come out, and here he comes, and I sit down, just taking a breather at a chair. Chris approaches me, and he asks me, he says, "Say, I'm trying to I'm trying to be accurate here." He just basically asked me about how do I know about this stuff, or how do I know, am I affiliated with amphetamine sulfate, the publishing press in Austin, Texas? If anybody knows who Philip Glass is, Philip Best.
Yeah, I've got some of
Oh,
the amphetamine sulfate stuff.
yeah, great stuff, great stuff. The
Yeah.
newest one I really enjoy, the one with Thomas More. If the title is "You Won't,"
Your dreams?
hell, no, that one I already read. No, the other one, I read
Oh,
that one at Storybooks Cafe. His newest one.
I've seen the cover of it. I forget the name though.
Yeah, it's of a sky, like a blue enigmatic sky.
Yep. Yep.
So I read that one, but anyway, he asked me how do I know about this stuff, and how do I know about these people like Audrey Zaz, Thomas More. I just keep up with just I told him about Matt Graham, son of Dennis Cooper. We talked about him and how he's great and all, and I knew him through I know these people through him and through an individual named well, not personally, but his name is Juan from Plague of Plague by Visions. Juan
Oh yeah, yeah.
V. So I know about those two, but mainly Matt, because Matt's great. We talked about that and like our interests and stuff. Then he asked me about my art. Are those the computer? What are these pieces? What you did. I liked them so much, and I told him I do MS Paint art pieces. I do IBS pay on my computer or on my iPad sometimes, but I'm not doing it on my iPad no more because stupid iPad broke down on me. So every now and then I do my art pieces on my HP computer and do the MS Paint and stuff. It's fun. And we talked about that and that was pleasant. And then that night I met his muse and friend Luca Fisher, and I met a late Bob Flanagan's wife, the late Blob Bob Flanagan from the Nine Inch Nails music video. His wife Sherry Rose. I met her, and I didn't know who this lady was. And the whole thing, I was so oblivious to everything was so oblivious to me. I didn't had no clue what was all this. I just went there to have a good time for a party, to have a hunky dory good time. I didn't know who these people are. I didn't know who Chris was. I didn't know who Luca Fisher is or Sherry Rose or all these other. You know, that was it was everything was so alien to me. You can just you wouldn't a person like me wouldn't even go to these things. But I did, and I'm glad I did, and I'm glad that Matthew encouraged me to go because I didn't, honestly, I didn't want to go, but I only went there for Matt Graham, because he's my friend, and I wanted to support him and be there, and I wanted him to be there in spirit, even though I don't know if I don't recall if he did get to go to Los Angeles, but I remember him telling me that he was going to go to Los Angeles, and that was it, but. I just only went there for Matthew. He's just great. I tell you, Jack Skilly, he did a post on Jack Skilly's work. He did a post on, that's how I know about these people through Matt. Jack Skilly, uh, Brittany Manjivar, Brittany M. of that book, Parasocialite. Then there's Car Crash Collective. Then there's Kathy Aker. Then there's, I recall, oh, what was that other book I need to recall? I remember what's this? What's the is because he reached out to me to ask if Matthew and Evan of New Ritual Press are open for to be published to publish. Although they're reading lots of manuscripts as we speak and everything. But his name is Ruben Danger Ruben Dendinger, from author of Cursed Images of Hyper Idea Press. I don't know if that name rings a bell to you fellas, but it's
No,
interesting.
not
And
really.
all right, well, he reached out to me too. So these kinds of people that I'm aware of through Matthew. So like I said, when I say he's an encyclopedia for these sort of lines of raunchy, sort of dark stuff, really is. And I other than I give my hat to Cubby and I give my hat to Jamie Baldwin, I give my hat to Matthew Graham, son of Dennis Cooper. Without him, I would have not known about these things, and I wouldn't have known about Pocket's Party. I wouldn't have known about Clash Books or
Yep.
House of Lad or fuck. I would have not known about Anxiety Press or oh boy, Expat Press, and then there's that other joint. There's so many joints out there. Amphetamine Sulfite, 1111, Infinity Land. The
Oh
whole
yeah.
the whole
1111
enchilada.
people.
Oh man, I love their stuff. But I even wanted to work with. So funny enough that I talked about work. So as I go back to Apocalypse Party and Dingbats, the correlation. Oddly enough, Dingbats was going to be an AP, an Apocalypse Party book.
Oh, no way.
Okay.
Yes. I finished the book. I remember I finished the book. It was prior to Dingbats, I've written a lot of stories here. So the only thing was just putting them all together, and just cleaning it up and stuff. And I remember they were open to publishing. I believe in March they were open to submissions. And I reached out to Ben, direct messaged him, and I told him I have this idea. At the time, the title wasn't Dingbats. I had so many titles. Dingbats wasn't always Dingbats.
Because that's sort of a play on Confederacy of Dunces.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I had a title that says that I had and I even have it on my Google Docs or whatever, because it was a sort of a Kickstarter for Dingbats. So
Oh,
give you,
wow.
for an example, I'll tell you one title. I got a lot of titles. One title I recall, it goes. So many. Chester wasn't always going to be in Dingbats. It was supposed to be a standalone book, Chester and Other Divine Atrocities.
Oh,
Wait,
shit.
I couldn't
was that the Dead
figure
Cat
out the
one?
book, so I did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dude, that was my
So it
favorite
was supposed to be a
story.
novel. Yeah, that was supposed to be a standalone book. I might consider it, but I decided to put it in Dingbats. But like I said, there was, oh God, even the Orange Crayon story was supposed to be a novel or a novella all to itself, like Preston Drag, Confessions of a Crayon.
Oh, my
Then there
God.
was, yeah, all these other stories that you're reading, that you read from Dingbats, were going to be their own novel, or considered to be a novel or novella, but they made it up as a collection of stories. But okay, here's one I have. It's called, oh boy, An Orgy of Lunacy. An Orgy of
Oh boy.
An Orgy of Lunacy.
Not
Yeah,
bad.
yes. I got another one. An Odyssey of Divine Obscurities, of Divine Atrocities.
Okay.
There was, let's see, I have the, damn, I got the Odyssey of the titles. I'm telling you,
The
one, and
Odyssey
then
of what?
there's one about Colleen,
Uh,
huh?
oh,
An
you kind of
Odyssey
cut
of the
out
Atomic
there.
Bomb. Oh, I said another one called An Odyssey of the Atomic Bomb.
Okay. Okay.
So many, and but the Orange Crayon was published before as a short story for Dream Scene Carnival. Same with this server should be deleted if anybody's familiar of 100 Substacks magazine or whatever. I don't think so. They're in the UK, but John Hopper, who is the editor in chief, every now and then I would go to him and I write stories from, like I wrote the Golden Elephant story, Colleen,
Oh, okay.
Thomas.
The golden elephant.
I
Yeah,
wrote,
yeah,
the Golden Elephant, Thomas, um, Jason, not Voorhees.
yeah.
And there was, I believe, oh boy, there was, from I recall, is he has a collection of those stories in his magazine in different issues. But yeah, one I can tell you is Chester. No, I don't know that. Not Chester. Never mind. That didn't make it to the cut. It was. So I got the book here. What the hell am I doing? God, talk about being dumb. The Gimp. The
The
Gimp.
Oh,
Gimp. Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Gimp was there, I believe.
Yeah. It's in the
And
book.
then an essay. I wrote an essay about this lady named Jerry Hunter, this old lady from Iowa, and she. The only reason why I wrote about her, because I felt like she deserved her own sort of ode and ODE to her, even though nobody knows about her. But I feel like somebody should know about this lady. Her name is Jerry Hunter. She resides in Iowa. She's a nice lady, very pleasant, and so this essay basically saying how funny she is and how I knew her. I knew her through the website YouNow, a live broadcasting site, and she would broadcast there playing her little keyboard with her cats. And it was sometimes it would be obscure and funny. The obscurity was that people in the comments would jump in and they would be nice, and sometimes they would comment about her appearance, like being old or fat or ugly, stuff like that. Just rude. But she, the only thing about Jerry that really surprises me, even though people were so nasty, mean, funny, try to be nasty, she just put a smile. She had a smile. She was optimistic, even though she didn't have to, but she was. And that really, it was in a way that really sort of scared me, at the same time really enlightened me. Her optimism. You know, despite of it all, she still smiles a hunky-dory smile, and that really resonated with me. And sort of that, her personality, her disposition resonated, infected me, and infected the book, infected Dingbats in a great
Awesome.
way.
Yeah, I think
You know,
that was
because even
something.
though,
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah, no, I feel like that was something, Jesse, that you found out, I guess, about real life people, possibly.
Yeah,
oh yeah. Well, just to finish that one thought, you are
yeah,
you're because you are right. It totally infused the book because what was that story? Barbara. Barbara has
yeah,
like the ending to that gives you the same uh e- sort of emotional feelings. I think that you were just describing that the profound like
hmm
despite just this the odds or whatever, just like this overwhelming you know beat down of life, that there's still something like glamorous or classical and kind of golden, being
yep,
uplifted or whatever. But yeah,
absolutely.
so but and then to King's point, um yeah, you you your chapter, what's it called? Let me look right here. It's called Barnes and Noble and the Homeless Schizophrenic.
Yep, that's a true story.
Oh, I know it is
Holy
because
fuck!
you
Yep,
mentioned at the end the guy's actual YouTube account. I don't know, did you look
yes.
up his YouTube?
Oh, he shared it to me. He shared me a piece of paper, and that was the name of it. Very obscure chicken writing. It was all in chicken scratch, sort of writing. And this sort of ripped up paper said, "This is you can find me here." I said, "Okay." Right when I get off from the Bars and Nibbles, I'll look you up, and I did. Sure enough, I did, and it was. I remember it's only two videos, and one of it is this long audio. I don't recall the title, but it's just of his voice. I think it would be something about the Blue Oyster Cult. He was
I
enamored by
saw,
them.
what was that?
He was enamored by them.
Yeah. Um
Hmm
I saw that his last video was like 2 years ago. His videos don't really get much more than like 9 views. Um,
Yeah,
and it did seem like a lot of like really intense rambling about like literature. At least the ones that I clicked on. Like he had written a book or something and was reading passages of it
yeah,
out loud.
Well, now he's gonna blow up
yes.
because of this podcast. We're just shouting him
Right.
out.
Hal Joseph
Indeed.
presents.
Shout out to Hal Joseph.
Hal Joseph presents that nut. I tell you, he just really he was something else in that bookstore. It was so funny.
Did he really
God.
throw American Psycho at you from across the store?
Yep.
Holy fuck.
I was looking for a book to read, and he saw American Psycho, and he just threw it at me.
Yo,
And that was just so funny. And
that's what I love
then they
about this
sort of
book
kicked him out.
is that like at times it's real, but you can't tell. Like there's very dreamlike qualities, and like it feels like almost every chapter there's like a twist or a turn, or you're like flipping something on its head, and it's hard to tell what's real and what's fake.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
full of dreams, like characters dreaming about other stories that you read, or appearing in other people's dreams, and it's like very interconnected in this sort of in that sort of logic.
And my little phrase I use, and I love saying it is sort of my lazy way of saying, because I'll admit I can be lazy, but I just say my schizophrenic dime store novel. It's very schizophrenic, the book. And it's in the point of view of a schizophrenic person. If you read the writing just carefully, some of the writing can be very obscure grammatically, and just grammatically wise, it can be very quote unquote schizophrenic.
I
You know
love
what
that.
I mean?
Yeah.
Because the first chapter it says pizzer, and I'm like, oh yeah, like I love all the misspelled, like feck, like you don't say fuck, you say feck. I love that.
Yes. And
Yeah, I can't stop saying pizza.
Pizza. Oh
Pizza
man.
and Tuesday.
Okay. Yeah, Tuesday. Anyhow, but can I go back to sorry to interject here, but I wanted to really wanted to mention this about AP Pockets Party and Dingbats, since I mentioned it originally was going to be a AP book. So I reached out to them back in April 11th of 2024 when they had their thing open for submissions, and I just pitched them an idea, and I said, this was the idea for Dingbats, and so this is early on. The idea is a collection of art pieces with a story attached to them, some of it horror, some of it dramatic, some of it with a touch of black comedy, some soul torturing. Each and every one of them have been through hell and back. Each chapter will have an art piece attached illustrating the collection of stories. And this is what Ben said, and I never heard afterwards. We didn't move forward after that. I don't know why, but very cool. I'll keep an eye out for it. Just so you know, we only print in black and white rather than color, in case that has any effect on the art pieces. Thanks for thinking of us. Excited to read your work. And I sent that work in June, and like I said, didn't hear back.
You had
And that was
no,
from Ben
And
Devo.
then,
it's too powerful for
yeah,
the printers.
Ben, and then I remember I reached out to Filthy Loot Ararat. Now that one too, that would have been a Filthy Loot book.
Oh, I got a nice
Dingbats.
rejection from Filthy Loot.
Yeah.
I was a little too hardcore for Filthy Loot.
Really? I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Really?
Yeah, they thought it was a
one,
bit too much. Say that again,
Get
sorry,
out
Omar.
of town. Wait, which project? Which was this already an excuse me here, but which project we're talking about here? I mean,
this is
something
from
we
my
already read before.
This is for my book Soap Scum.
Okay, that one.
Because I was like, I was still waiting to hear back from Anxiety Press. Well, actually,
Yes.
they told me yes right away, and I misunderstood what they said. So I thought I was still waiting for them to get back to me.
Okay.
And while I was waiting, I submitted to a few places like Filthy Loot and Dreamboy Book Club and some places, and Dreamboy was very nice. He
Oh yeah.
he said that it reminded him a lot of Dennis Cooper, and that if if he could afford to have a bigger release slate, that he would have put it out. And then Filthy Loot
Ah,
he just very kindly was like, no, I'm sorry, this is not the kind of stuff we want to put out.
really? I'm shocked.
Yeah. I
That's
mean,
a
their stuff kind of
shocker
goes
to
hard
me.
at times, but
Huh.
It's
But how
Interesting.
far
This
did
is
you get with
really,
Filthy Loot?
let me see. I got the receipts here. I got the emails, but
We're
from what
doing it.
I
We're
can,
reading receipts.
uh, let's see. I got two of what I can recall. I think one from the Filthy Loot thing and from Ira Rat. And I remember I just said, yeah, I just said, hi, Ira. It's been a while since I submitted to you. Not sure if you're a it was a year. So this is 2024. I remember I submitted to them a year prior,
Mhm.
2023. And basically I said, just pitching them Dingbats, the title, the back that you read Dingbats, I pitched them that.
Mhm.
okay.
And this is what they said. Well, hey, it's probably going to be a while before I can read this, but I will as soon as I can. And I said, no problem, Myra. Thank you for responding. And then I just nudged them again in August and to see if they were open or anything. And they said, sorry that they didn't even notice that. It's already been a long morning. Ha 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 ha. And yeah, I remember. Oh, what else? Because there's more conversation here that I just forgot. Then I said something. I'm just letting you know my book has been picked up from another publishing joint. So this is New Ritual Press, but this was not root. This wasn't New Ritual Press then. It was unknown title
Mhm.
from another publisher. This was Fast Hush, sure was, and I say thank you for reading the manuscript if you read it. In the near future, if I consider to go with you for publication when I have a new piece of unsavory writing unfinished, because I guess they were looking for unsavory writing, but in this, now that I don't know if your book was unsavory, but I don't know
It's
what
very
unsavory to
unsavory.
them might. Yeah, I don't know what is unsavory to them to this one not to be unsavory to be too out there for them. But anyway, the reply was, "Sounds good. Sorry that my plate has just been too fully recently. Hopefully, I get to read it when it's out. Hope all is well." And then I said, "Well, I completely understand. I think this way was the best route to go. I'd be happy to share the book to you when it comes out, hopefully in the near future. I can work with you on a project. I'd love that. And congratulations on Anxiety. It sure is a pep and anxiety. I guess what was that? The anthology or whatever.
Oh,
Anxiety.
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
That one that I too wanted to part. I, Little Birds and Little Birds 2.
Yeah, I've read them.
I was gonna I submitted to one of them and
Oh, no way.
it didn't work out. Yeah, it didn't work out. I remember, but it's absolutely fine with me. But let me see. Yeah, it's just let's see, 6 art pieces. Yeah, I remember I submitted art pieces for them. This is back in December 13 of 2023. And some of the art pieces I believe are from one of them are from Dingbats. One of them.
Yeah.
That I'm telling you, this is Dingbats has become a life of its own. It's because it's been jumped around here and there. It wasn't Dingbats then. It then became Dingbats. Then it wasn't this cover, but it became that cover. Then it wasn't this. It became a life of its own. Without me knowing it, subconsciously.
Yeah.
It came to life. And I'm
It's
so happy of this freak of nature living a weird and hunky dory life. Even
kind of
if it's
funny.
without me, I'm just pleased. It is.
It
So I'm glad that Dingbats, huh?
No, I was just gonna say it's funny that I think a while back you were saying like you were introduced to all these people and hearing you like getting rejected by all these publishers like bro, I don't know who any of these people are. Holy Jesse
That
I
Dance.
I know all of them.
that's
This is
okay.
so crazy
Yeah.
Yeah.
to have
So
this
this
on
is just
record.
the
Actually, I love this.
yeah, and then I reached out to Clash Books, I believe, and then House of Lad. House of Lad. Jesse, do you know about House of Lad? Brian Ellis.
Yeah, I was considering submitting to them, but they said that they don't take submissions from outside people, that they will come to you.
Ah,
And I was like, what the fuck?
really?
So I was like, oh, there's no way for me to get in here. All right. So yeah,
Really?
yeah. But that being
That's so
said,
funny.
right. I haven't read their stuff, but they looked you know, like maybe their style was sort of similar to mine. So I was just kind of curious, but that definitely
Oh my goodness.
put me dead in my tracks right there.
Back in 2023, December 16, I submitted to Brian the GIMP story to him, or Vlad Mag or whatever, and well, he said he thanked me for submitting for the third issue. Bad Vibes, that's the title. While my submission was accepted for that issue, he appreciated letting him read the work, and he hopes for it to submit. He hopes for me to submit to an issue of Mag in the future, but I didn't get to. This didn't happen. And this was from an individual. I don't know if this was Brian, but this individual's name Barracuda Gorasco. Barracuda Garage. I think this is Brian, but interesting title for an email. So Dingbats, it just jumped. It went from one place after another, and places that we know, unfortunately, never got to be, realized from any of them. But I'm glad finally it found its proper home. It just fits perfectly. It really did. It became a success. But it became a success so spontaneously. I didn't
Yeah,
think it
I
would
think
go
there's a
beyond
little bit
1,000 copies.
about it in the introduction at the beginning by Matt Pegas, where he like meets you in real life for the first time. But is that how you guys actually first met, or were you guys talking online before? Like, how'd you get in with New Ritual?
Okay, I met Matt through his associate, Evan Papadakis. I'm not so sure if anybody's familiar with Evan. Uh, I met him at a launch party of any. So let me just go back to July 26th of 2024, and this was at a bar called the Monte Bar in downtown Los Angeles. And this is for a Car Crash Collective reading. And Jesse, I hope you remember that name. I don't know if you do. Car
Car
Crash
Crash
Collective.
Collective?
Yes.
Oh, that's not ringing a bell, actually.
Okay, that's fine. That's okay. That's absolutely fine.
Sorry, man.
So how about Alex? No, that's okay. How about Alex Kazemi? Okay.
Was that New Millennium Boys?
Yes. Okay. Let me just. So you're gonna. Okay. Hold on a bit. Let me get my water because this is a lot to take in. This is a
Let's
lot.
go. The epic.
Let's fucking go, Omar.
That's why I've got the water. Hold on. Because I'm telling you, a lot happened that night. But anyway, hold on. Hold on. Let me replenish here. Excuse me. So July 26th of 2024, I think it was a Friday. I saw an advertisement and a post on Instagram advertising the launch release for New Millennium Boys by Alex Kazemi, collaborating the launch with Car Crash Collective, Brittany M, and Aaron. I forgot her last name, but they're the two ringleaders of Car Crash Collective. So I saw that, and I saw what time and where, and I thought, well, this is another party I like to go to because I go to these things every now and then. I've gone to these Car Crash Collective things, and it's fun and all. So it's fun. I like it. The thing I like is just meeting people, getting to know them, and what they're all about, and what their interests. It's an excuse to meet people. So this was my excuse to meet people. Mind you, I didn't know who Alex Kazemi was. I didn't know who this individual was. Hell, I don't even know what he looks like. I didn't even know what he looked like at the time. So, um, I had no knowledge, no prior notion or knowledge of who this individual was. I he's just some guy to me. I don't know what to some individual. So I went there. I remember I believe I took the bus getting there. I took two buses. The 920, the 910, or not 910, 950, going to the number 16, number 4 bus. But let me see. Uh, anyway, Monty Bar. I get there. The door's locked, so it's not open yet. So I wanted to take a pisser, so I went around the area to see if it's open. Any area they are open to use the public restroom, tattoo joint, sub shop, liquor store, weed joint, the whole enchilada. Funny enough, I finally got to use the restroom at a hoity-toity coffee shop. They got to let me they let me use it. I did, and then I went back to the bar, and I find Brittany M, Aaron. They arrived at all in their black attire, I believe. They wore black. Usually, these people, all these scene people, they wear black, so there's no stranger to that color. Uh, so their associate, the DJ, was there. He arrived. So many people that I'm familiar with. They don't know my name. I don't know their name at the time. I was just that one individual, that uh, what my quote I quote this, um, and what they said behind my back, the not the ringleaders of Car Crash Collective, but just the people in that scene, and whatever who strangers, that trashy, quote unquote trashy Southern ghetto retard Mexican, just the whole
Oh,
9 yards of trash. Yeah, I'm no stranger to that, and I thought, well, I didn't know you can be trashy, and I certainly didn't know you can be. No, I didn't know you can be Southern and ghetto at the same time.
that's
Now that's
true.
an unusual mix for me, but apparently I'm Southern and ghetto.
What the
Um,
fuck?
yes, yeah. People don't realize that, but it happens. Um, anyway, so Alex Gazemi arrives. He arrives too. I didn't know that was Alex Gazemi to me. And funny enough, this is the funny thing, the kicker. He's friends with my best friend, Matthew Pegas of New Ritual Press.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the thing. So he's friends with him, and I say this because I had an experience. I experienced Alex Gazemi. It wasn't very at his launch party. It was very. He was a hard read, if that makes sense. It was a hard read. The whole thing was just so. And excuse me for being. I don't want to sound coming off. I don't want to despair the individual. I don't want to despair anybody. But I'm just being frank from observation and stuff.
We'll take the heat.
One thing I really. Okay.
Well,
One thing I didn't really like was just this individual being this sort of type, being like the emperor that can turn things gold, or he's like the type that you wouldn't want to share a sandwich with because he would want the whole thing. Um, you know, really, really, it felt like I was looking at the devil.
Whoa.
That makes sense.
you were
You
the
know,
crayon, and he's the guy having sex in your book. That's.
yes, in a way, in a way. So anyway, Matthew, he was supposed to read that night. He was in the lineup, Matthew Pegas. But Evan came in to fill in for him to read his book, Black Album, and it was a chapter called Funky Town or whatever, and he read for Matthew. Uh, and so Evan, he was sitting at the bar area, and I was sitting in the bar area, sitting down, all melancholy. looking at myself in the mirror, just sitting still, off, just stone-like. I just was exhausted. It was a long day. And Evan, he says, I remember he asked me how I was doing, and I can't recall exactly the the conversation, but he says, I told him, I'm doing all right. I had a long day. It's been a long day. I'm just all, I'm so tired, exhausted. I just need to drink some water and stuff. And we started talking, and one led after another. He tells me about Matthew, and then he asked me if I was a published writer, and I said no. This is the funny thing. People ask me if I published a book, even at Chris's party, the launch party. No, I've never published a book, but that he he asked, well, you have a voice that, you know, you would read a book from. You know, you have that voice, just very distinct. I thank you, but no, I've never published a book, but I publish stories on the Substack or whatever. But that's not really. It doesn't equate of a book. But we talked after another. We had a good talk. We had a good, interesting conversation. Just don't recall the whole ordeal because all that, the subject matter really wiped out of my mind. I met his girlfriend, Sarah. She was very nice. She's really a nice lady. Him and Evan, very pleasant people. That was the beginning of it all. We became best friends. So back to Alex Kazemi and the party and whatever, the whole launch party. It was a nice time. I had a decent time. I had a swell time. It was a nice time, but I really just that individual, and I say I'm being frank here. I'm being truthful here. It just, yeah, his behavior didn't really appeal to me. It's not my type, you know, the prima donna type or whatever.
Have you read New Millennium Boys?
Yeah.
What did you think of it?
Yes, I had. Well, I don't want to be nasty or mean here. I'm just being frank, but
well, I'll be honest. I only read like a page of it and saw that he was censoring himself in the book, so I didn't want to read it.
Yeah. Yeah. I know what you mean. It just, I thought, well, God, R.L. Stein can write a better book than this. You know what I mean? You know, if I wanted to read an R.L. Stein book, I would have gone to Goosebumps or whatever. But look, it's sorry. See, now I'm being mean here, but yeah, it was something. I don't want to be nasty or mean. Then I'm gonna get, you know, because if I say something here, it's gonna come back to me, and Matt will, you know, it's gonna come back to me. Actually,
well,
we won't let that happen. We'll beat up anybody who comes at you, Omar. Okay, we will defend you till our dying breath.
But people have different tastes, you know.
He's gonna say that I'm clout chasing and that it's these scene people. It's that mentality that I'm or that way. No, it's not my mentality, and no, I'm not clout chasing for shit. If I wanted a clout chase, I would have just gone on a plane and ride through the whole damn plane. I don't need to be clout chasing online. I just need to buy a ticket and go on the plane.
Well, you know, it's just like
you know what I mean?
Yeah, if you know, you're allowed to dislike things. You know, people have different tastes and all that. So I don't think it's that big of a deal if you're like, oh, the book wasn't
genuinely
that great,
dislike the book.
Yeah, that's fair. This is cool. There's a million things that people dislike.
That individual, I tell you, he really is something else, and that behavior really does not appeal to me. I don't know why. I honestly don't know why that's appealing to some people. That sort of, even from interviews I've watched, because Matthew did an interview. Really, that type of being that too cool for school type. Like, fuck that. You're not in middle school no more. The hell is wrong with you? Fix your back. You know, fix yourself. The hell is wrong with you? Where's your sense of integrity? Where's your sense of dignity? Where's your sense of you know? Oh God! Yeah, see, I'm all pissed off. Now my mind is all scrambled eggs off because of this louse. But it really, really pisses me off. I tell you. That sort of that type.
You mentioned Plagued by Visions earlier, Juan.
Yeah.
Well, he kind of exposed Kazemi a little bit because he sent a review copy to Juan, and Juan did not like it. He gave it like a fucking 2 or something out of 5 stars.
I don't blame
And
him. I don't blame the individual.
well, yeah, but then he messaged Juan and was like, "Well, can you delete your review? Actually, can you take that off the internet? Because I don't want your honest opinion out there."
No. I'm sorry. Fuck that. Oh, no way, Jose. That's from the heart and from the mind. It's coming from the heart. Fuck that, whatever this guy says to take it down, just because it's. No, 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 no. I relish the bad reviews and the great reviews. Even the bad ones are funny to me, and I keep it. I like it.
Totally.
Gotta be real. Gotta be frank with yourself. Fuck that. I'm sorry. See, that's why even from when I met him when I saw him and from observation that night, and this is 3 times now. I'm telling you, this is 3 times that I've noticed in person. One at his launch party, second time at a birthday party that I attended to, then the third time for reading at Storybooks Cafe for Honor Levy. Honor Levy. Anybody familiar with Honor Levy?
Yo, wait, you were at a reading party for Honor Levy?
Yes.
Yo, Gabe is madly in love with her. So
who's in love with her?
Gabriel Sinclair from Tukey's Mag. You've just
Oh, well, that's nice. I don't know who, can I tell you the truth? I don't know who the broad is. I don't know who the lady is, so I honestly don't know.
Yo, you met her. You're mocking Gabe right now. He can't take it anymore. Chad Maxey.
So, no, that's okay, I went there. I just only went to that reading, that party, because at the time I'm meeting my date, my girlfriend at the bookstore. So she lives around that area, and so after work she comes and come to the bookstore, retrieves me, and then we go back to her place. But I didn't know they had. I had no idea they were going to have reading at that Storybooks Cafe. Honor Levy and Alex Kazemi was going to be there, and Peter Vack was there, and all these people. I had no idea. Oh, wow. So, and this occurred about a month ago, I believe. This was a month ago this occurred. But 3 times that I've noticed that individual, 3 times he's done this to me. The second time at the birthday party, he just eyed at me, studying me like I'm some gum on the wall, like I'm some sort of roach on the table. Like, what are you? What are you staring at? Can I help you? What can I help you with? Not a clue. Didn't even say anything. Hi, very nice to meet you, or oh, you're friends with Matt, or not a word, but just observation. But I didn't want to start anything, and I don't want to start anything. I certainly ain't gonna finish. He ain't gonna finish. I'm certainly gonna finish through, but I know he ain't gonna finish.
Wait, just for I may have been slightly confused. Are you talking about Alex Simmons, or actually him, not like because I thought we were talking about like a separate individual at the party. Oh, okay. I actually
Alex Kazemi.
Okay, that sucks.
The actual individual.
That fucking sucks, man. Yeah,
I got money on you.
I don't know much about Alex Kazemi. Actually, I just know he's like some kind of.
That's okay.
He's sort of famous or something. Like he met Taylor Swift or something. I don't
know. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. And I guess this is my sort of feud, if that makes sense. I got a feud with him. A feud.
You're airing it out here.
Apparently there's a feud, but I don't care, and I don't give a crap.
Hell yeah.
He doesn't do my laundry. He doesn't make my dinner.
You can take him.
Make my bed and whatever. He's just some guy, some individual, and I honestly don't care. And I don't care the book he wrote, and I don't care of how famous he is, and I don't give a flying fuck of golly, the people that he knows. I mean, what does that have to do with anything? Nothing. I'm from Gardena, California. I don't need to be fretting about all that crap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, she's something else. I tell you, and I it's just so funny. I'm thinking about it. Just I can't help myself laughing too because it's so funny. But
It's just like,
just every
dude, yeah, he
time
gets you
he
riled
does
up.
this, he does. Oh, he's just a GD. He's just a jerk. That's all.
You're living the
Well,
Hollywood life,
I
bro.
don't know what I've done to him. I never took food out of his mouth. I didn't kick his dog. I just don't know exactly what exactly have I done to this individual to behave such a way with me and with others. Like he's higher than thou. He's just the king of all. No, wait a if or social whatever. No, a true king. And I'm going to tell you this, you two
Let's go.
boys, a true king, a true socialite are those who uplift their subjects and the people around them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
oh
To
yeah,
be social, to be a socialite, you got to be social. You got to be open to uh, uh, subject matters that are too far beyond, but you just accept it as it is and go on, not just throw it away and just dismiss them like they're gutter, some scum on. See, I'm all scrambled eggs, y'all, because of that
Nah.
stupid louse. But you get the gist what I'm talking about.
Nah,
Oh,
that
yeah.
that totally reminds me. I don't know if you listen to a lot of music, Omar, but like Ye and
Huh?
Dave Blunt's. Like Dave Blunt is like a
Yeah.
500-pound
Hey,
black
oh
guy
yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
You know, and it's like
Dave Blood, I
most.
know about
Yeah.
him.
So it's like most people, I guess, would like look at overweight and like make fun of him, but like talent's there, and like you gotta Ye just set Dave Blunt's up
Oh
with like a
yeah.
personal trainer. Just look at the good in people and try to help them out and get them on where they need to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And exactly. And I try and I really do my best to see good in everything. And I really did my best to see the good in this individual, Alex Kazemi, but it's hard. Sometimes it can be very hard. He makes it really hard. And I'm sure he's a nice guy. I'm sure he's an interesting, nice person in private, but in public he can be, yeah, no. It's
That
yeah, no.
Yeah.
Nope, nope,
that's the
nope.
feeling I
Not
got, that
my
he
type.
was elitist. That's just kind of
Yep.
that was my impression, and that's why I didn't want to read the book, because he self-censored himself, and I thought that was like the most cowardly, dumb fucking thing to do. And for it to be getting so much attention, it just like, I don't know, I was just wasn't into it. I just wasn't into it. And then hearing Juan call him out, and just the whole drama of that, I was like, this guy fucking blows.
Yeah. So I'm glad I'm not the only one who thinks and feels that way. He just creeps me out.
Alex
I'm
Kazemi exposed.
a
Yeah, dude, this is a
I'm a
safe
happy
place for
person, you
shitting
know.
on him.
I'm a nice person. I'm a happy person. I'm an interesting and understanding person. But when you push my buttons, oh boy, it's gonna be quite. All
Yeah,
hell will break loose.
you don't
So
want to piss
I
off
want to be a
Omar.
happy person.
He's the
You don't
king.
want to piss me off.
You can't. Yeah.
You will fucking unleash hell. I know it.
You will
Yep,
unleash the cholo,
absolutely.
the ghetto southern. It's coming.
Oh, I didn't realize you were describing yourself that way. I got mixed up. I thought
Yeah.
someone was calling you that, and I was like, "What the fuck?" But okay, so that's how you describe yourself. Okay, I got you.
Well, no, actually, yes.
No, I think people were calling him that.
Oh wait, they
They were.
were? Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yes,
I was like,
they
okay.
were. Back
Well,
in
we'll hunt them down
it was
too.
April 16th. It was on a Tuesday night, April 16th at Cannabis Cafe. I attended a poetry reading for Car Crash Collective, and it was a nice little reading, nice little joint. I was the only one who danced to the piece of shit music they had playing, because I asked if they had song requests, but that's all they had, just damn music I didn't understand or couldn't find the rhythm to dance. But hell, I dance anyways. It's a party. You have to have a good time, no matter what.
Hell yeah.
Kurt Cobain died for your sins. Why not honor him by dancing? You know what I mean?
The least you
Yeah.
could do.
Kurt Cobain shot himself so you could dance. Hell yeah, bro. So true.
Exactly. And I was
Was it
dancing and
Nirvana?
honoring Mr. Cobain.
Were you
Yeah.
dance? Was it like Teen Spirit? Or
I
did you
was
not know?
dancing in the Teen Spirit, but in the song of some sort of stupid louse with the robotic voice go.
Oh,
Fuck is all this? Okay, all right then. Going, what the hell is this? Okay, I'm gonna dance anyway. It's and even being tipsy, that sort of helped me with that too, with the courage. But hell, I still dance anyway.
oh yeah.
Kurt
You
would have
know,
wanted it.
I had a, he would have wanted it. I had a good time no matter what. And I tell you, that was the beginning. That was the beginning of all those independent literature, quote unquote, alternative independent reading. That's the term. Now that's just a reading, but I had a good time. Every now and then I would tell Chris here, my knucklehead, I would correspond with him and tell him all about. I would dish with him and stuff like that, and he would laugh a good laugh. And it's fun, he really is a knucklehead. He really makes me laugh, a good hunky dory laugh.
Okay.
Chris C.
And
Have you
then
seen his movie, The Canyons?
No, but Matt has. He talks about it in the car every time we go to the readings. He talks about it in the car, and half the time I have no clue what he's talking about. 'Cause I've never seen this picture. Apparently, Lindsay Lohan was in this movie. I've
Yeah.
never seen it, so I have no clue. But
You
he
might not
talks
want to
about
see
it.
it.
No, I don't think I want to see it. But yeah, I don't think I would want to see it out of respect for Chris.
Right.
I wouldn't want to see it. But
He's only in
yeah,
one scene, and yeah, you see his dick in it.
uh,
So
oh well, that makes sense. I don't want to see it again. I've already seen him naked. I don't want to see him again. No way, Jose. No, no, no,
enough for one
no way.
lifetime.
That's enough for me there. No, Ooh. Yeah, Mr. King had quite an adventure from going from 2024 of March going up to now,
yeah, and then that's how you
even
got
before.
signed to New Ritual. They're like you were so
Yeah, I
banging at
got
these readings.
signed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I got signed with New Ritual Press. Well, this was back in August. So August, we were originally going to do it. We were going to publish Dingbats in December, but then it got bumped up to January. So January 21st, but then it bumped up to February 4th. I'm glad it did it the way it did. I'm glad it got published at Feb 4 instead of Jan 21st because, well, I don't know. At the time, a lot of stuff was going on, and it was best that it was going all the way up to Feb 4. Funny enough, I was going to throw because I don't know, since it was a launch for that 21st on the 24th or the 22nd, 23rd, I was going to have a little Sizzler's dinner party with all my contemporaries to celebrate Dingbats, but Matt it would sort of it was sort of kind of confuse the whole thing and save it for the launch party, the actual Dingbats launch party. And, that at that time, I was so happy. That was my thing. I wanted it to happen, but it happened, but not in the way I hoped for. I did my own dinner with different contemporaries, but it was nice. I liked it anyway. But I'm glad I'm glad I listened to Matt on saving Chris from going to the Scissors, but actually going to the launch party. He read at my launch party, and that was fun hearing his voice reading the orange crayon in his voice. And that was it. Just I'd laughed a hunky dory laugh, laughing at all these with and at these people reading from the perspective of a crayon and the perspective of Colleen, I think, and the perspective of Thomas. No, wait, never mind. Jason, and then the pizza at Costco parking lot, and then there's just the Poisonous Apple, and then I go last as The Chimp Dream. And man, oh man, that's my favorite story to read. I tell you, boys, The Chimp Dream is my signature read. Every time I go to readings, I just pick that as
Oh,
my signature read because
is
it has.
is
If you
that the
read The Chimp Dream,
one?
you'll see what I mean.
That's the one where like it ends with like the monkey like ripping off people's faces and shit.
Yep.
Yeah, okay,
Oh
that
my
one was
god.
dope. That was
I
dope.
sent that I sent screenshots of that to the chat because are you a fan of Perfume Nationalist at all?
Wait, I have no clue who that person is. I have to look them up. Hold on.
Okay. I was just curious
Perfume
because
Nationalist?
yeah, Jack Mason.
Perfume Nationalist. Let me look them up. Let me look them up. What do they look like? Is he chubby or something? Is he fat?
Uh Sorta, yeah, he's a bigger guy. He's got a podcast. Um
Oh,
the song that's playing while the chimp is killing everybody
uh-huh.
is a reoccurring theme song that he used on his show a lot. So I was just curious, like
Oh
for me,
yeah.
I was like, oh, that's amazing, like because I love the show and I love that song so much. So it was just like crazy to be reading that like in a book to this very violent scene. So I was just curious
Oh,
if you were a fan of the show or
mhm.
not.
Oh, I've never heard of him, but now that you mention, I'm gonna look him up. He sounds like an
Yeah,
interesting individual.
I think
Ah,
your taste in
interesting.
TV shows would overlap with his.
I I see he's wearing a shirt called Death in June. My
Oh yeah,
jam.
yeah, yeah.
I love Death in June.
Oh man, then you would love Perfume Nationalist. You definitely gotta indulge yourself. Literally from the very first
Yeah.
episode, just watch it. Just listen to it all.
Oh,
Honestly.
did he do a podcast with Adam Lear? Because I see.
Oh yeah, they're best friends. Well, I don't know if they're best friends,
Okay,
but
well,
they're
yeah.
good friends.
Okay, I was on Adam Lear some time ago this year, about a couple months ago on his podcast. We had a nice time talking. It was fun, I tell you that. Another knucklehead. He's just great too.
Oh, safety
Uh,
propaganda.
yep.
Oh man, I gotta listen to that. I didn't know you were on
Yeah,
there.
I was on there. Yeah,
No
I was.
shit.
There's an image of Hubert Shelby Jr. in the cover of the podcast, so it's sort
Oh,
of
perfect.
my little resonate with me. It's fun, but yeah, I Mr. King gets around. People think I was born yesterday or I just came off the boat or whatever. No, I've listen. I may be. Some people. There's the difference. Some people are of the scene, but I am in it. You see, I am in the scene rather of the scene, and that's a huge difference. I get around,
Hell yeah.
you know.
You're living the real. What is it? I don't know, like Hunter S. Thompson. I don't know who's a Hollywood
Hmm.
writer or some shit. But that time, you're doing it real.
Hmm. Indeed. So it really sort of funny when people say, and I watched this video of this guy saying, uh, what's his name? Casual Encounters. Samuel Loren asked this individual, "What do you want to say to the people in the audience?" And then this guy is, I think he's tipsy or something or slurring his words because he goes and says, "I want to conquer Hollywood and all this other stuff." And I thought, wait, I'm going to stop you there, buddy. I don't know who you are. I don't know what you're all about. You seem like a nice guy. Don't get me wrong, but hold on a bit there. I don't know who you are to say you're going to conquer Hollywood. If you're going to be I don't know who you are, but you ain't going to conquer Shite. And that I say that in German. You ain't going to conquer shite. Not over my dead body. I know who
You
you are, but no way, Jose.
you need buckets of money to conquer Hollywood. I don't know.
Indeed,
Don't know.
absolutely.
Maybe he's the
But
You
son
I
of
gotta
an
think
oil
you can.
magnate or something. You never know.
Oh, interesting enough. I guess I'm going to have to invest in an oil pump or something.
Yeah.
or pimp yourself out to the right guy, you know.
Oh. Oh.
Oh, well,
Omar.
I don't know about that though.
To the right
I'm not
Weinstein.
the type.
Yeah.
Oh well, I don't know about that though. I'm not the type to be doing those kinds of things. You know what I mean?
You
I
think
just have
like
too much. I. Mm-hmm.
there's like an OnlyFans girl out there that like gets on one of them Saudi Arabian cruises, and because of all the money she gets, she can take over Hollywood. That'd be
Uh
funny.
huh.
That's how it rolls.
Interesting.
A whore took over Hollywood from Saudi Arabia. I don't know.
We got to write that story.
Yeah, it's got to be Odyssey Dingbats too.
Oh, actually, funny enough, I have Dingbats 2 in a vault as we speak.
It's
Oh,
finished?
nice.
It's in, well, sort of finished. I'm just refining and revising it as we speak, cleaning it up. But yeah, it's in the vault. Dingbats 2. While I'm not cleaning up Dingbats, I'm working on these side projects. I just finished. So I finished technically, this is my second book, but this is my spin-off to Dingbats. This server should be deleted. My novella.
Hmm.
So I
Oh,
finished that one already. hmm
How
That
server
much
one
done,
longer?
yeah.
is going to be
Because you have a
how
chapter in
how
your
much
book
long?
about
Wait.
server deleted, right?
Yep.
So
Oh
is
How
that like
much
yeah.
a
longer is
prequel
it
to
than
your
that?
next book, the spinoff, or?
Yeah, that's the spin-off book.
Okay.
This I believe 98 pages, 90 pages.
That's the novella length?
90. hmm
Sick.
Oh shit. Okay.
Usually it's 115 from what I can recall. What I recall it's 115. So 98 pages is
What
that sums up the book.
was this always planned, like doing spin-offs and stuff like that? Because I noticed in
Mm.
some of the stories, like you had like Golden Elephant, but then that was also mentioned in another story. Like, are you making an Omar cinematic universe? You know?
Oh, you mean the Dingbat verse?
Yeah, the Dingbat verse.
Yes. Yes, I am actually. I've been talking about this with Matt and Evan. I'm considering, and I don't know because I don't want to jinx myself, but
Yeah.
one story I've been thinking of expanding Colleen and Lester or Chester, one of the actually Lester or Colleen, uh, expanding their story into a novel or novella. I thought, I want to continue their story. I don't know from where, but there's something there, and I want to. I really want to expand that universe because it's especially with Colleen. She really,
Yes.
really. If you read that story, especially that part where she's tripping balls and she sees a toad fingering herself in the
Yeah.
ladies' room. So that really that
That shit was wild, dude.
strike a chord in my head.
But she just ate some bad frozen TV dinner or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
thought
then
her
apparently,
story especially could be expanded into, into something bigger too.
yeah. So her and Lester, because man, I want to see what's up with Lester. What's going on with him? I haven't seen him for a while. I like to know what he's up to and stuff. You know, um, the Dingbats. It's like 6 degrees of separation. There's a lot of details. Different stories are all connected back to Dingbats. Like, for example, in Chester. So I'm going to quiz you guys on this.
Oh fuck.
So when you read Chester, he has a psychiatrist, I believe. His name is
Dr.
Dr.
Akkad.
Akkad. Yep. So, but I'm gonna quiz you on this. What he
Oh
talks
shit.
about that he tells Chester that he frequents to an online chat room server. To say now the question is for one of you is which user is Dr. Akkad? Which user is Dr. Akkad in? Because he makes an appearance in this server should be deleted actually,
Wasn't he
but not in his name.
wasn't he
I have no idea.
like
I'm fucked.
But yeah, he appears in this server should be deleted.
I
was
just
it
remember the mod stories.
300 209?
Hold on. Let's see.
Well, that's what I was thinking, but I didn't see his number.
Yep,
That was the number?
300. I got the book with me here. I'm trying to let's see. Okay. So you said user 300 and
What it was it 300-206?
I'm sorry about that. I'm trying to get, I got the book with me. So there, I'm right here. 302.9.
Oh, 300-20.
So if you see user 302.9,
Oh yeah, that's what I meant to say.
there.
Yeah. 300-209. Yeah.
And this server should be deleted. He makes an appearance there
Uh,
where he talks about,
oh, okay. I guess I just didn't see it in the first couple pages, so I just assumed he wasn't there.
no, he's there.
Okay,
Yeah, it was
no,
funny.
no.
I was curious if you had done that, so I was skimming hardcore to see if it matched up. I was like, oh sweet, okay, great. Now I know. When I read the story, there'll be a part where he comes in or whatever. But yeah,
Yep, he's there.
there's a few times, and obviously I'm kind of forgetting some of the
Yeah. Oh, of
specifics,
course.
but I know that some characters are mentioned in other stories, or outright, like some characters will say they had a dream, but the dream will be from like one of the stories we already read. Like I think someone says they
Yes.
dreamt of the golden elephant man.
Hold on. I think
But there's
yes.
like,
I just
yeah,
remember
there's
the
like
golden
connections like
elephant being
that.
mentioned twice. Yeah.
I think it's in Barnes and Nobles and the Homeless Schizophrenic.
Oh, it
And then I
might be.
believe there's the chimp group therapy.
He discusses his dreams in that one or something, or
I believe so. And then and Colleen, funny enough, she talks about all these sort of scenarios, and the orange crayon makes a cameo there.
that's
A
right.
shout out cameo.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So it all bleeds together. It's all yeah, this one kind of overlapping universe where they're all together in some weird way.
They're all connected. You see, it's a spider web, and it's a fun spider web that I really like. And I like stories that connect with each other. That I have to say. And if I can do that, then I've done my job.
I know I didn't remember the Doctor number in Chester, but Chester was my favorite story, and the cat like screaming at him. I need more of that, bro.
Oh my
God.
That was the best part. I love that.
And then he slits his throat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my god. That was a really, really good one.
I really enjoyed doing that. Especially the part where the cat screams at him, basically scolds him like his mother, and says, you know, where's that part?
Oh,
Calls
actually,
him.
oh,
Also, I'm sorry, this is just too funny, but she says, for 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 the way you treated me after your mother died. Number one, you neglected me. Number two, you battered and pushed me around as if I was some hooker. Number three, not once in your miserable life have you given me kisses while I was alive, nor after death. A feline wants to be loved too, you know. And four, you fed me fucking dried cat food, and I died in misery under your care. Your care, Chester. Your fucking care. Things like
yeah. So based.
It's good. It's actually like, oh man, it really hits on the because like it's details like that where you get like a much broader perspective of like who he was, just outside of the frames of the story or whatever.
I'm actually also
Yep.
curious now that I'm looking at it. In the deleted server story, I think there's a user named Barb or something that gets like cheated on or whatever. Is that the Barbara, the former star? Or
Oh, funny enough, this is ambiguous. Um, I hope I don't want to give too much away, but I don't care. This is my book. I don't give a crap. But actually, in reality, Barb, the user in this chapter, she's actually a man.
Oh, okay.
Oh shit.
You know what I mean? So she's actually he or she is actually a man in this server, an pudgy, balding, middle-aged man who personates as a woman
With a
and
Okay.
goes
bulldog
on this whole
face.
tangent, bulldog face, goes all around this tangent, and I tell you, and so when you read this server should be deleted, the novella, she still goes on this tangent with these different users accusing her of being a man, and then she denies. I don't know what you talking about. One, I'll give you an example so you have and understand what I'm talking about. She goes, and I tell you this whole thing. I'm not before I go with this, I'm not the originator. I'm not the end all be all of this sort of format of writing. I don't want to coin myself as that, but sort of giving my torch, passing on the torch, or tipping my hat off to the two people. Dennis Cooper, the sluts. I'm acknowledging them, and Agme Dolatropolis, B.R. Yeager. Those two because they
Omar.
really.
Oh my god. I've been
It,
sitting like on the edge of my seat just ready to ask you, have you read The Sluts? Like, is this inspired by The Sluts at all? So I'm so
and
excited to hear you say
yep,
that.
yeah, I acknowledge it in the novella that these are two works I want to tip my hat off to. The Sluts by Dennis Cooper and Agme Dolatropolis by B.R. Yeager. Because this service should be deleted, is not an original work of literature. This variation of another composition. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about here, but let me dumb it down and say this. I'm taking the mantle, passing on the torch. This book
Yeah.
is a homage to these two works that inspired me to write my take on this sort of online message board chat room server writing format. I'm sure there are many more out there, but these are the I think of and have read. I'm giving credit where credit is due, and boy, oh boy, they deserve all the credit. And
Yeah,
they
The
do.
Sluts is a masterpiece. And I am a big
Mhm.
fan of Amygdalatropolis too.
Yeah, I just love the cover. I just love the format.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
my God, I really like us. B.R. Yeager. He's something else. I gotta tell you, he really is something else, and my hat goes out to him. And they really need people really need to read more of his stuff.
Have you read Negative
Negative
Space?
Space. Yep, Negative Space.
Okay. I'm still sitting on that one. I gotta get around to it.
Great book. Great book. But anyhow, where was I with Barbara? Here is an example of what I'm talking about in this server where she goes on this sort of argument with these users, all these different users basically trying to be dorky and hitting on her or hitting on each other or whatever, or say all sorts of things. And she says, um, what was, hold on, I got my computer on right here with my Google Docs here, so I'm, it's slow as hell, but I'm doing the best I can to go as fast as I could. Okay, well, then she goes on different usernames. So she gets banned every time, and she comes back with different names, Babs only or something,
Yeah.
or Babs Wawa or whatever. But she comes back, and no matter how much you kick her out, she comes back. Oh, she says, that's why it says, if I could use her 700, 208, I would jump out of your computer screen and see what you look like, kick you in the meatballs, strangle you to death. Frankly, my dear, you are a pain in everyone's asshole. Please, why don't you do us a favor and leave? Just leave. Leave us alone. And then the other user says, ooh, as if I'm supposed to be scared of you, Basswater. I know what you look like. Justice for Muttley, 88. Bring him back, Mods. Bring him back. Bring him back. And then the other one, cry and protest all you want. Muttley forever, 88. That dipshit will never come back. It's that as if the mods would ever bring that stupid mutt back. It is so weird. It gives me the creeps. And then this other guy says, "Fuck you, you blaspheming fat bitch! You take that back. You have no right to speak of Mister Muttley that way. Fuck you." And then Basswater says, "Talk, talk. Oh yeah, talk, talk, talk. You talk, talk. That's all you folks are. Talk, 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 talk. You don't scare me, fat. You don't scare me. I don't want to say the F word, but you know what I mean. Talking gay. But you're all
Fag.
talking no play makes Jack a dull boy. I know. I had to go there, but I had to say it, Jackie boy. That is what you are, a talking, a fatty, flank Jackie boy. Why don't you run to your mother and cry on her shoulder? This space is not for babies like yourself, dumbass. And then she goes on, and then he says, "Well, at least I may be at least I may be a faggot, as you say, but at least I'm not a pedophile like you. I know what you are all about. Yeah, I heard all sorts of things about your kind, being a man, pretending to be a lady online, trying to slide into these impressionable young teenagers, direct messages on the Instagram site. How disgusting! Oh, if Mr. Muttley were here, he would cut your tongue out with a pair of shears. You would die a bloody and agonizing death by the hands of Mr. Muttley. Oh, Lord and Savior, our Lord and Savior. He would turn the wrong to right here." And then Susan Hayward says, Hayward Susan, 50, "No one is higher than thou." She says, "No one is higher than thou." Fuck, God, hold on.
Got it.
Not even that mud of yours. May you go and burn a horrible burn in hell. Burn and perish like the parasite that you are. None of you are worthy of our Lord and Savior. Yeah, Babswater, go to hell. And then she says, heathens, all yous. You're all going to perish in the fiery pits of Satan's hell. Mark my words. And then it goes on and up. It's like this book has no narrative. It doesn't have a narrative. It's just
Mm.
it's a free for all.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. There is no narrative. So each body of text from these users that they just post or whatever, it just goes on and on and on and on like a mouth looking for a scream, like going through Dante's Inferno in the digital sense. It is the Divine
Yeah.
Comedy.
It's just online
You know
talk.
what I
It's how
mean?
it is in real life.
That's how it is. It's bleak, funny, dark, sometimes boring as shit, but
Plotless almost.
that's online. Yeah, shit post,
Yeah.
digital waste, and that's what it was originally. Originally, this thing wasn't always going to be this server should be deleted. I had two titles for it. One was digital waste. The second was
Ooh.
the digital inferno, and then I what was the other one? Digital inferno, digital waste. And I think this server should be deleted. So I went with this server should be deleted because it really made sense with the main character. The main, so I guess there is a main character, user 700-208, or he says this server should be deleted, and then it
Right.
goes on like a pattern.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and everyone gets mad at
Like
him and tells him to leave because they don't want to
yeah,
hear how what they're doing is actually, you know, meaningless or bad or
wrong,
something.
meaningless, and that yeah, and then at the end, so now I'm spoiling here, but I'll just say it anyway. At the end, he reveals a little bit of himself, but not really. He goes on a long tangent and says, I'll read it to you fellas because I think you, you two deserve. It's on me, and it's okay. my work, and I don't mind sharing. But he says, I don't know about you, but I find people who reveal too much of themselves, reveal their true intentions and motives, are quite desperate. What a desperate dullard to spout their shit in post. A cry for help if you ask me. I'm not one of them. Do I really need to give you a sob story? Do I have to gravel on my knees and have a full house moment and tell you, yes, you, how this guy wronged me for sleeping around with my gal, or how my mother beat me senselessly, or how my father fell off a building and plunged into a gruesome death, or my confession to a murder I don't recall I committed because at the time I was high as a kite, or my epiphany, or about my flesh, my body, my shell, my flesh rotting slowly yet surely, or how a stranger butchered a dog and stuffed it in the microwave only for it to explode a terrible explosion. Or how about this old lady who burned a man alive? Geez, that is a little extreme there, if you ask me. But you get the gist. This is all hypothetical. I mean, Jesus, none of that stuff really happened. If it did, I wouldn't be writing this all out here unlike others. And he says, I am not a flesh of and bone. I'm not human at all. I'm not the traditional sense of a man or woman. I have no vessel to exercise except for this computer or server. To some I might be considered a peeping Tommy, but I am an observer, if you will. But I'm not like others, watching the activities of my peers, my low-life contemporaries through the computer screen, watching their every move, one push of a button, one click away, to me is not a peeping Tom, rather a case study. Time to time there would be that one username that would pop up from the cesspool of the comment section of this server. Of course, they would spew and post their shit and leave, sometimes removed or silenced, as you witnessed earlier. They wouldn't be as remarkable as you. How could they? Their words of hate and thoughts of human decency and degradation are, at this point, meaningless and senseless. De- Desensitized, if you will. That's sort of basically that's his confession there.
Holy shit!
But there's
Right.
more. hmm
Wow.
Yeah.
It was
Kind of
wait,
reminded
was
me.
this in the chapter or is this in another chapter?
This is the novella.
Oh,
This is
the
the
new
novella.
novella. Okay, base. Okay, new. Okay, awesome. Got it. Got it. Got it.
hmm
Some
I
of the
tell you,
aspects
it's
of
been.
it.
Mhm.
Sorry, go ahead, Omar. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, I tell you. Oh, it's all right. I tell you, I had a good time. I really had a good time with this project, even though it was a short one. I had an awesome time working on it. It really sort of. I fell in love. It reminded me why I fell in love writing, and this is why. It's one of those things you don't have an explanation to, and those are one of those things. And uh, for an example, when do you guys know about the Sweeties? The Sweeties, public access television, obscure program.
Never heard of this.
I don't think so. No.
Oh well, it's on blame. So blame it on Jorge did a sort of a segment on obscure public access television program. Okay, so the Sweeties is these two grown men and women in a ski mask, wearing a wig, wearing funny glasses, colorful clothing, colorful ski mask. But so when I mention them, I tell you because they are sort of that to my blueprint to Dingbats as well. I did a sort of a on my YouTube channel. I did a mashup video edit. Basically, how people have their collages, the little collages of their books or whatever, what they
Yeah.
envision. So I do it with videos.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually let me send it to you so you have an idea. I got the video on my YouTube. I'll share it with you guys at the Discord server. So I do these mashup videos on a book to see what kind of feel or quote unquote aesthetic, the aesthetic of it. and this is sort of my blueprint, my aesthetic, if you will, on Dingbats, and it's awesome. So that was my blueprint.
Okay.
But yeah, back to this server should be deleted. Yeah, I just fell in love. I fell in love with why I wrote it. Some people just do it for the work, for the money. I did it for the sake of the work, the sake of the art. I don't say now that sounds pretentious here. I'll admit
It's
here.
not
That sounds
though.
a little pretentious there, but no, I mean what I say. It's honestly, I just
It's not pretentious though. It's the
No.
best work is like made by people who don't care about
hmm
money. You know.
Hmm.
right. You know,
I think it's
I
endearing.
Yeah.
it's endearing, and I'm glad, and it's fun. You can see the sort of the growth of from the mind going from plan A to plan B, where I started and where I'm ending. And they it's amazing. It really is an artistic smash, and I love it.
Yeah.
And I hope to do it again and again. As much, I'll, yeah, I already shared it, but it's there. But
Okay.
uh, when I can, I'd like to do it again. Hell, I'm even working on my third book, not Dingbats, but a third book. I'm not going to name the title, but
Oh
Damn.
man.
Busy
uh,
beaver.
I'm a busy beaver. This one is so dark.
Oh
Oh
Talk
shit.
about
shit.
taboo. Yeah, you see what I mean?
Well, and this one ended up on Dennis Cooper's Mine for Yours.
Really?
The I thought you shared that.
Well,
The
which one? Which one? Hold
the
on.
Odyssey of Dingbats.
The book?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh wait, hold on. Hold on. I'm scrambled eggs here. Oh, you mean my book? It got mentioned on his little blog.
The yeah, his yearly sort of favorite books of the year, or like, what he's been reading in
Yeah.
the half year or whatever. Which, like,
Yo.
I mean, that's pretty
Yeah.
amazing.
Mentioned by the heroes.
I'm it's I see how this is so spontaneous and just surprising. I got no words for it. I never expected for this thing to be up there. It's like as if I won the Pulitzer Prize or something. It just really tickles me.
It's a big deal. It's yeah, man, that's something else.
I can't believe I, I told Matt, I can't believe I feel like I won the Pulitzer Prize.
Yeah, you're writing something inspired by him, and then he's read your
Uh,
shit and loves it and is promoting it, like that's dude, that's the dream right there.
yeah, I told one of my contemporaries, I should be a cow and go over the moon because I'm telling you, man, this is out of this orbit.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, should be a cow go over the moon. Oh man, this is awesome. Really, this project really has been a passion project, and
Well,
it's
you
evident in the work. It's
could you also talk a little bit about like the
uh-huh.
soundtrack picking, because you sent us like
Yeah.
music to listen to, and I thought like
Uh-huh.
I listened to the full album actually of the Cramps. I thought it was pretty good, but it like such a
Mhm.
good
Mhm.
like dingy, dirty,
It
but kind of
really
like
sets the
whimsical
mood.
tone. Yeah.
Yeah. It sets the mood of Dingbats, if that makes sense. It's like it's pulpy, but it's dark, dramatic, bleak, transgressive, but it's altogether at the end. It's a fun book. I'm not like Alex Kazemi, who regards his work as being, oh, it's a work of importance.
Yeah.
No, my book is just it's something else. I mean it's not something serious, but it's also not a work of oh, important literature. No, it's a funny, pulpy book, and that's what I was going for there.
I think that's also where some of the David Lynch
Huh?
comparisons kind of get thrown around, because there's
Yeah.
sort of a quirky, sort of uncanny sweetness,
Mm-hmm.
juxtaposed with the darkness. And it
Yeah.
is, but it's like, it doesn't feel like you're being like your derivative. It just feels like this is who you are. This is your personality, and like
Mm-hmm.
the best way these people can possibly explain your work is to be like, well, it reminds me a lot of David Lynch. So does that
You
comparison
know,
bother you? Are you a huge,
n-
like, are you
not
very
really. It doesn't
inspired,
bother
or?
me. You know, that's so funny that you say that because I get it a lot. I tell you, I get it a lot.
I bet.
I get it a lot. um, I think Mr. Lynch is a great individual. I'm sorry I never got to meet Mr. Lynch. I wish I did. It would have been fun to have met him. But in a way, I did sort of meet him in my dreams after he died. He came into my dreams and
Well,
shook my hand. It was a weird dream, I tell you, because I was at a parlor or whatever. I don't know if it was a pizza parlor or some cafeteria setting, and he was there, and I talked about, I soft serve ice cream, that, ice cream can be universal. It can come in any way and forms, and it could be anything, everything, all at once. Ice cream, it's a universal thing. And and it, he was quiet. He was very, at the moment, he was quiet. He realized what I said. He understood what I said. And then he approached me, shook my hand, and said, he didn't call me Mister, but, kid, you're the only one that makes sense around these joints. You touched my heart, and that says a lot. And, he shook and I said, thank you very much. And then he gave me a hug, and um, I remember he gave me a hug, and we shook hands, and then we took a nice little group photo, him and I in the dream. And I don't know who took the photo, either Matt or Tom. I think was it Harry Dean Stanton or somebody, but it was strange. And then he gave me another hug, and he said, kid, your time is your time is not now. You have more to go. You have more to do. You have more to go. You have something in you. Just go on. You got to go on. Even though we may not met in in the real world, the realm of reality, but at least we got to meet in the dream world. And I'm happy that we met in the dream world. And likewise, Mr. Lynch, I'm happy we met. And don't you worry. I will keep on going no matter what. Everything will be all right. I'm gonna keep on going. And he said, that's what I want to hear. You go on. Just don't stop. No matter what, you just don't stop. You keep on going. And then that was it. I woke up and I thought, fuck, I want to continue this dream. This was fun.
it
Yeah, I
sounds
did get to meet
strange.
him. I did.
It sounds so
Hmm.
Lynchian yet so Omar King at the same time. Like it's like the
For that
best
to
of both
happen.
worlds. Yeah.
Yeah. The group photo.
Yeah, me with
Whoa.
my little deranged face with thumbs up, and he just smiling, and I'm pointing at Mr. Lynch, and he's just giving a thumbs up and taking a nice little snapshot of us going, "Jeez, go." And I told him, "Well, Mr. Lynch, this is great. I'll see you around like a donut. You take it easy," and things like that. But man, that was fun.
See, and I'm crazy enough to believe that he actually came and visited you in your dreams. It was like, you're the way,
Yeah.
dude. You are the future.
You're the
But
one.
yeah, I get it a lot. I get it a lot. All my contemporaries always correlates me to Mr. Lynch. And at first it sort of bothered me. At first I said, I can't be Mr. Lynch. I can't be. Mr. Lynch is Mr. Lynch, and I'm Mr. Omar King. But then I got that. I ceased to read. I ceased and just say, it's fine. I understand. Why not? Fine. I can be Mr. Lynch.
Yeah. Yeah, you take
There's
control.
so
Yeah.
you make so many Wizard
Hmm.
of Oz references, and so does
Yeah.
he. And that was such a big influence on him. And I was just like, I couldn't help but think of him quite a bit when I was reading your work, even though I didn't want to be the obvious one to be like, okay, well this is very this is very Lynchian, obviously, but no, it's totally Omar King, which is this yeah, very very unique, endearing personality.
Thank you. Thank you so much, my friend. It means a lot to me that I always say, I always gotta say thank you to the readers, the people, everything, because I put in the work, but they too put in the time to read, and that means a lot to me. And to that I say thank you. Unlike others, unlike others that don't say squat. I think you know who I'm talking about.
Mr.
And those,
Kazemi.
Alex. No. Oh yeah. Going on the endearing. I did want to say. I think my favorite second story
Mhm.
was the Barbara story. The former star. I thought it just
Yeah,
was awesome. How like you hear her talking about like wanting to have sex with like a gay guy at the beginning. You're like, okay, this is just like one
yeah,
thing, but then it turns out it's trauma because her husband left her because he turned gay. I don't know. I thought that was like a really cool like subversion of I guess like the Hollywood cup trope or some shit where the girl was the
yeah.
one that's getting cucked from her husband being gay. I thought it was fucking hilarious.
Yeah, it is funny. It turns out that her husband turned out to be a homosexual, and he's screwing the pool boy and stuff. He's got the hots for the pool boy and all that other stuff. And then she goes on this sort of she gets pissed at him and then tell him to get out of here. Just I don't want you in my life no more. And then it was sort of the downhill for her from there.
Yeah.
It's funny, but it's dark and sad. But at the same time, I can't help myself just
Yeah.
laugh at that sort of notion.
But I did love the ending where it's like she's always a star, Like it is sad, but
Hmm.
she had her
But
moment.
all
It's
the
endearing.
hipsters want to hang out with her.
Yeah.
Yeah, like dancing to John Miles' Streetlight.
Yeah. All the
Yeah.
musical references were great. I loved all the film references.
Hmm.
Um uh your Barnes and Noble chapter, I was kind of geeking out because I that's me when I go to Barnes and Noble. I'm just like, oh god, they
Yeah.
this and then this and oh yeah, I can't, I geek out very hardcore when I go to Barnes and Noble and I see books that I've
Hmm.
been looking for and all that stuff. So yeah, I loved all the just the media references, I guess, throughout the whole book. I felt like we were kind of two peas in a pod.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I was like,
Huh?
randomly, I was like, have you seen Strawberry Mansion? Which nobody has fucking ever seen that movie, but
Nope.
but you have.
Nobody's
You've
seen it.
seen that movie.
Yeah.
I don't know how you've seen that.
Interesting picture. I tell you what. It's really
Oh,
interesting.
it is 100% your personality. Like just so whimsical and creative and but melancholic too. And
Yeah, absolutely. And hold on. Excuse me here. Hold on. Oh, all right. My headbuds died on me.
Oh
oh
fuck.
no.
Oh, hold on. But I can still talk if you can hear me.
Yeah, we
We
can
can
hear
hear
you.
you. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. You can hear me. I don't know if I sound differently now.
You sound better.
Yeah,
Really?
you do sound a
Okay,
little better actually.
well, that's good. I'm glad. But anyhow, back to Strawberry Mansion, as you talk about. Yeah, interesting
Mhm.
picture. It's something it is up my alley.
All
If
right.
that
Yeah,
makes
that
sense.
that movie made I'm a big crybaby. I've talked about it a few times, but that movie makes me cry a lot. It just makes me super emotional for some reason. I can't even really pinpoint like specifically why. It's just like a character will say a certain turn of phrase, and the music is
It'll
super
make you
powerful.
cry.
And say that again. Sorry.
It'll make you cry.
Oh, big time.
A good cry, if that makes sense. And I don't blame you. I too am a big fat baby crying a terrible. Oh man, when it
Nice.
comes to movies like that, yeah, I cry. Even
Oh.
All Dogs Go to Heaven, I cry a terrible cry.
Me and you, yeah, I think me and you would have a good time watching movies together. Just crying on the couch.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm just a scaredy cat. I get
Oh,
fucked over
man.
by horror movies, so I can't watch that shit.
What?
Yeah.
What? Not even Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
No, I haven't.
Oh, Omar, we are best buds now. Oh shit.
Oh
Yeah,
man, I did a. Y'all know about Vera Veraco PR?
What is
Veraco.
that?
Vera
Corp.
PR.
I don't think so.
Well,
What is that?
uh, this lady named Lydia, she's the PR people, the PR person for these indie people, these indie writers or whatever.
Okay.
And so she I did a sort of a write up in her little blog thing, and I just remember in that blog write up or whatever, I wrote about list of movies and books that I recommend people to read. And I tell you, I went crazy in
Oh,
there.
hell yeah. I
Oh,
gotta read it. I gotta know all the recommendations.
oh, absolutely. Let me see. It's Vera Co. Vera Co. PR. There it is. Vera Co. PR. And in the blog, it's Mr. Omar King and Discipline and Anarchy. I am. Oh golly.
That's the name of the piece you wrote.
Yeah, well,
Discipline and
that's her
Anarchy.
title, The Discipline and Anarchy, and just my name.
Okay.
Oh, I mentioned the Texas Chainsaw Massacre there, and
Hell
where I
yeah.
talk about here. It's up there. Okay, now
Okay.
if you see it right there, it's there.
Nice. Okay, I see it. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Uh-huh. So I go down all the way to where she asked me, your task is to prescribe one book or film to the collection for mandatory consumption. What is it? And I went on a tangent about a whole list of movies, and my top one was Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, 1986.
Oh, I'm gonna have to watch
Oh,
that
dude,
now. Fuck.
I am looking at this list. These are great. Bride of Chucky is so fucking good. Oh man.
Hmm. Oh,
Jason,
yep.
I'm surprised you like Jason
Uh-huh.
Takes Manhattan.
Yeah, that's my favorite. I like it because, well, one of those movies I like to watch while eating popcorn and just if basically get lost to, if that makes sense. One of
Oh
those
yeah.
movies that I like. And then The Hellbound Heart, Hellraiser 2, 1988.
Yeah.
You know,
Not
it's a
bad.
movie. I'll say it's one of those movies a kid shouldn't be watching it very late at night. Foolishly, I was brave enough to watch it. Yes.
How old were you
Yeah.
when you first saw it?
About 10, I believe, or 11.
Wow.
I was 11 years old, and I was we at the time it was Encore, but then it switched to Stars Channel.
That's right.
Encore. So I would watch movies on the Encore channel, and they would play the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Next Generation with Matthew McConaughey, Renee Zellweger, and then there was Hellraiser, Hellbound 2, and then there was Child's Play 3, the one with where Chucky goes to military school, and then there
Yeah.
was Child's Play 3. Yep, all those movies. All
Oh,
those movies, and shocked that they didn't have Halloween or whatever, but I wanted to see the Halloween movies, but they didn't have it at the time. I don't know why, but I would watch those movies. I would watch on the Encore channel, and they were fun to watch. That was sort of my introduction to horror, sort of these obscure horror or indie movies. Sometimes they would showcase these old indie films on there, which is fun. I'm sad that they don't do it no more.
yeah.
You
I
know?
actually have fond memories of the exact same thing. Actually, some of those titles, like especially the third Child's Play, like I saw specifically because I was, I was either tuning into that channel or I'd go on the on demand, where you could rewatch the recording of it or whatever.
Yeah.
And I would just watch all these comfy old horror movies that I had never seen before, and it was yeah, it was a great time to to be a kid for sure.
It sure was. And I remember the first horror film I guess it is the first horror film I watched, Child's Play 3. That was the first quote unquote horror picture I watched.
Holy cow!
About 4 years old, 3 or 4 years old. I
Oh
remember I
wow!
scraped my knee. Yeah, I scraped my knee, and I just yeah, I at the time we was living in a different sort of, I think it was a townhouse, or I think it was a townhouse or something. And at that particular area, they had a sort of this big, it's a big sort of community house or whatever. And I scraped my knee there by accident. And then I remember I laid on the couch with my dad, and he played the Texas. Nah, he played Child's Play 3, but this was all in Spanish. That was the thing.
Oh wow!
Child's Play
Right.
3, but in Spanish. But I didn't, and I couldn't correlate the Spanish. I just couldn't. I was tuning in on the. My eyes were fixated in the imagery, but I just wasn't. Wasn't paying attention to the dialogue in Spanish. I remember the one scene that sort of struck in my mind and my little eyeballs or head was the scene where Chucky slits the barber's neck with a razor blade, and
Yeah.
that really that that took that sold me there. That scared me, and was my introduction to dolls being horrific.
Yeah, I don't know if you yeah, there were a
Huh?
few moments like that really scarred me from that movie. I don't know if you remember there's like a scene where a kid cuz it's like a military academy or whatever. Um
Uh-huh.
and one kid jumps on a live grenade to save
Yep, I
to save his
remember.
friends. Yeah. That really fucked me up. And the whole ending where you see him get thrown through a turbine at that amusement park.
Yeah,
I was like, holy fuck, dude. This is nuts.
it was. And then seeing his face cut open, half of his face cut open. Now that was frightening. Screaming. Now, Child's Play 3 really, that was my introduction to horror. That was
Wow.
the beginning.
What an introduction.
It really was. And I'm sorry I didn't have any something interesting to say. And I did a reading with James Newlick, and another guy named I forgot his name, Whammock something, Garrett Whammock
Oh,
or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah, from Broken River.
Yeah, Francesca Leah Block, those individuals who participated in the Tormented Flesh anthology, and I read with them at Culver City. And after the reading, the one of the audience member was asking each person or sort of what draws them to horror. And I didn't have, honestly, I didn't. I was all scrambled eggs at the time. I didn't have a sort of this definite or solid answer to what why or what draws me in. and I wish I did to say. I just said I'm like, like Vincent Price. I like something that makes me laugh and something that scares me. And I tackle that subject. It's honestly, it's subjective. It really is subjective, and I just would, see them all scrambled eggs
Yeah.
too. But it's work that is subjective.
Yeah.
Sometimes horror can be hilarious, and sometimes the hilarity, the uh, spontaneous or whatever, comedy can be horrific. And if I can find the comedy in the horror, then I've done my job. It's like horror movies that scare me. I'd like to emulate that sort of feeling in writing, and emulate the campiness at the same time. So for example, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is one of those movies that horrifies me, but also it just makes me laugh because I'd like to emulate that sort of horror and campiness, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you nail that very effectively throughout all of Dingbats. It
Mhm.
rides that fine line of uh being outright horrific, but also there's like something where it's almost so horrific that it takes on this not even really slapstick, but just like it just takes on this comedic tone because of how abrasive and horrific it is. um and then it'll have a moment where it just reminds you like, oh, it's like it just rides the line very well, because I think when you want it to be funnier or scarier, or when you kind of want them to be this kind of strange hybrid.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
the book really has I think a good pacing to it. You're never bored. There's always something new, interesting, whether it's like a dark emotional moment or just something that's funny and off the wall. So it's really cool.
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah, the pacing
Yes.
is crazy good.
Yeah, yeah. It's like
Yeah.
super short and stuff,
It
but
goes slow. Yeah, short. It goes short, then long, super short, long. Uh, it's very schizophrenic. I'm emulating that. Um, I wish I can say more on that, but basically, I'm just emulating psychosis or neurosis would feel like.
yeah, it's the neurosis through the book. But I'm kind of I'm
Hmm.
kind of out of questions. Jesse, do you have a lot to ask for?
I just wanted to touch on, because in your follow-up Software Underbelly video, uh
Yes.
he was asking you if you were in love yet, and if you had anything on the horizon, and you said that you hope you fall in love and that you need to find a girl as weird as you. And
Hmm.
it kind of seems like that has happened since the video. So do you
Yeah.
kind of want to talk about
Oh,
your
my little fine
newfound love?
china, my doll, my little fine china, my sweetheart.
Yeah, dude, get into
Let's
it.
go.
Okay, well, this is so. I tell you, funny enough, I'm going to be seeing her later this evening, so thank you for reminding me.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
um,
Because you have to go to like
um,
someplace later
yeah,
downtown.
this
That's right.
was
Yeah, yeah.
Hell yeah.
um, this happened so spontaneously. I didn't think I was going to fall in love. Honestly, I had no idea I was going to fall in love. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I so at the time I was celebrating the success of 1,000 copies being sold, Dingbats being sold,
Holy shit.
and I had an associate. Her name is Francesca, and I'm the way she is my associate, my friend, and collaborator. Since I'm working on her project, her little movie, playing a porn director. Now that's a whole different story all to itself. But I finished wrapping the picture, so I played a porn director in her movie and stuff, and that
Oh,
was fun to do. Yes, can you imagine Mr. King, a porn director?
I honestly think you could play any character in any time period. I feel like you just have the face and the personality. Like someone Yeah, someone needs to capitalize it and put you in movies and have you play all kinds of crazy characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It needs to
So
happen.
excuse me, but that's just it makes me laugh. But anyhow, so I told her I want to celebrate. Well, I told Matt I want to celebrate the success of this book. It's 1,000 copies. That's unheard of. So he tells me, um, I don't want to jinx myself being the first one because I'm sure there's been an situation where there has been 1,000 copies being sold in a short span of time independently. So I don't know. I don't know if I am the first. If I am the first, then that's great. I can't believe it. You know, in my circle, in my whatever. But anyway, so I threw a party, success party at her house, and so her name is Emily Benson, the lady, my little sweetheart. Originally, we wasn't sweethearts, we were just collaborators or something. We were gonna collaborate together on a photo shoot. So you see, Meet Stevens is the individual who introduced me to her and her to me, and it was the beginning. And I didn't really think about it and being smitten and stuff. I didn't know. And honestly, I didn't know if she was in a relationship. So me, at the time, she was just my associate and collaborator. But when I met her at my success party, because I asked her if she would want to, I invited her to come, and she said, "Sure, I'd love to come," because she wanted to take my pictures that Thursday. I told her I was going to be busy because I got my party, and then I'm busy that day. So, but she showed up anyway at my party, and there's a video on YouTube where I'm dancing and I'm cutting a rug. In this circumstance, I'm cutting rocks, kicking rocks, and there I am dancing to old jitters, and then this girl with the pink shirt and jeans approaches me and start dancing with me, and um she says, I don't recall a lot. There was a lot of noise, basically gesturing to dance with her, and I said, in my mind, I said, "Who are you? Who are you?" And and then she introduced my name. I'm Emily Benson. You're Emily Benson. That's you. Yes, that's me. Very nice to meet you. Wow. I can't, but wow, very nice to. So if you see the video, let me see. I got the video with me. I
I think
said,
I've
"Who
seen
are
this video.
you?" You have?
I think I have actually. I think I
Okay.
know what you're talking about.
Okay.
I have not.
And I say, "Nice to meet. Wow, fine, nice to meet you too." And we danced a good dance, and I, that this is where stupid me. I don't know why I didn't see the signs. Why I didn't read the signs or see the signs or whatever. But um, at the time I didn't. I just asked her if she ever has anyone ever told her you know you look like that Jodie Foster. You sound like that Jodie Foster. You look a lot like that Rose McGowan. Yeah, I get that a lot. I don't. Why would you say that? I don't know. What's true? You look like her. And then it just a whole tangent would go saying that all my friends look like me and da da da. It's an interesting uh, sort of introduction in person.
Okay.
But stupid me. I don't know why I didn't ask right away and asked her if she was, available. And I wish I did at that night. But it just she got away for those couple of days. Now, jump a week later, I asked her if she would. There was a reading in Silver Lake Lounge for the Car Crash Collective thing, and at the same time there was an award show for the Porno Hubs. And so, yeah, it's funny, huh? Hubs, the Car Crash Collective thing, and Silver Lake, and then Alex. So happened Alex Kazemi was there, not at the reading. I don't. He was at the Porno Hub Awards. So Matt told me, and whatever, and all this other thing. But anyway, honestly, I don't give a shit. If I was gonna go to the stupid awards, I would go for the barbecue. I don't know about that other stuff, but I'd go for the barbecue.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Hell yeah.
yeah. So before the event, the day before, I asked Emma, because I asked her if she would like to be my plus one, and she said yes. But then I had to ask her, listen, excuse me if I'm being frank here, but I don't want to start anything and just, I'm taking you to this place, taking you to this joint, and I find out that you're in a relationship. So I need to ask you this: are you available? Are you in a relationship? And she said, why? No, I am not in a relationship, and yes, I am available. Why do you ask? Why do you ask me this? You shouldn't be asking me this while I'm at work. You're making me squirm. No, I apologize. I don't mean to make you squirm. I just, well, I'm the truth of the matter. To tell you the truth, I'm quite smitten with you, and I like you, very fond of you, and I like you so much. And she said, "What? Me? I can't believe it. I didn't know you had feelings for me. Yes, surprisingly, I do. I do." And then the next question I asked, well, since you are available, this is my question. I need to ask you this, but this is the only way I can ask. And I asked, would you would you like to be the bride to my Frankenstein, the Tiffany to my Chucky, the Morticia to my Gomez?
Let's go.
And she said, stop, stop, stop. I know what you're asking me. And yes, of course, I'd love to.
Oh my
Yo,
god.
just Riz. Let's go.
And
Omar King
so
Riz.
we hit it off.
Seriously.
We hit it off. And then the next day, that event, she came. I arrived first at the lounge, and she arrived a little after. And I saw her all dolled up, nice dress, nice shoes, nice little. She just an actual walking doll, prettier than Baby Jane. Whatever happened to Baby Jane? If anybody watched that movie,
Yeah.
she looked like that. Um, she gave me a hug, and I gave her a hug. Oh, doll, I can't believe to see. I'm so happy to see you. And we sat down, and a lot of noise was going on, and then I told her, I like you so much. I really do. You complete me, if that makes sense. You make me feel like I'm 16 all over again. And she says, I same here. I didn't know you had those feelings for me. I honestly, if I'd known, I would have understood. But I didn't know. I'm glad you told me. And I I gave her a hug, and I said, I like you so much, doll. Do you mind if I call you doll? No, no, I don't mind. And I told her, no matter what, no matter whatever it is, you'll always be there with me. You're never gonna leave my side. No matter what. And I'll be with you every step of the way. You're mine and mine only. You're you're mine, and you're my priority, and you're everything to me. And I want you to be. Would you like to be my collaborator of the heart? Would you like to be my collaborator of the soul? Will you be mine? And she said yes. And well, we left. So we didn't stay for the event. We just she thought I was going to read. She assumed I was going to read that night, but I just only went there just to have a good time. But I wish I did read, but they didn't invite me to read. But And she said, well, in that case, why don't we just leave? And I said, well, let's go. Let's get out of here.
Oh,
And we
yeah.
did. We were gone with the wind. And I'll leave the rest for interpretation.
Hell yeah.
Buddy, that was so beautiful.
That was
I
awesome.
swear. I really, man, that was really moving to hear that. Thank you for sharing that with us. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah, she means a lot to me. That nut. I like her a lot. She's my soulmate, and I'm glad to share this chapter of my life with her, and she completes me.
Yeah.
I say that
And
sincerely. She completes me, and I love her with all my heart.
hell
You
yeah,
know.
bro. And I couldn't think of a
Gosh,
better
man.
way to end this podcast. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
freaking awesome. I guess we'll do sign outs now, and we'll get it going. So
Yep.
yeah. All right.
Everybody,
Oh, you want to go?
you've been listening.
All right.
Sorry. Who wants to? Who should
We're
close it out?
professional around here, Omar. You can tell. You go,
Yeah.
Jesse.
Everybody, you've been listening. You've been listening to Subverted Subversions. Where else are you gonna find content like this? I've been one of your gracious co-hosts, Jesse Larkins, the author of Soap Scum, published through Anxiety Press. You can find it on Amazon.com. And yep, take it away, King.
All right. Yeah, I'm King Cringe.
Well, this was.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Here we go. Battle of the Kings right here.
Oh, well, okay. So I'll go first, not because I'm better, but because you gotta have the last spot,
Right.
Omar. We finish out
Yeah,
with
you
you.
have to have
Okay.
the last
Yeah.
word.
Yeah. So real quick, I'm King Cringe. You can find me on the Substack, obviously. King Cringe Substack. Read Hates Free. It's dope. Find me on Twitter, all that good stuff. Aim your shot in the bowl. Omar King, let's go.
Well, this individual needs no introduction because I think everybody know who he is. But I'll say this: why strive for sloppy seconds when you can strive for artistic excellence? I'll leave you with that, But I hope I hope everybody has a nice, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, dusk, dawn, whatever you are, midnight. Have yourself a nice time, and well, I'll see y'all around like a donut.